If you've ever asked an Optimus robot for candy, literally trick or treated with a robot, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. And let me tell you, we have got a week coming up here. I started my week with watching Becky Quick literally trick or treat with a robot on TV. Did not have that on my bingo card. We have Halloween coming on Friday. We have a Fed decision on Wednesday. We think we're getting a rate cut here. Oh, and by the way, we have a ton of corporate earnings this week. Ton of big earnings reports here this week. So a lot of stuff to go through. Should be a fun one. I hope that you all got rested over the weekend. Hope that you all had a great weekend out there. We're going to go ahead and get today's show kicked off. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for October 27th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a great weekend. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Hope you all are ready for a crazy, crazy week. It sounds like we have coming up here. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Francis, good morning. How are you? Francis is first here today. Early bird gets the worm here on a Monday. Love it. Brian, how about your Jets? Brian, the Jets are back, bro. Jets are back. Really happy that they got a win yesterday. We also have someone in our happy hour fantasy league that is a Jets fan, and she was having a day. So really happy to see those smiles out there. Good morning, Brian. Welcome back. Gold's taking a thumping. Does that mean the end of the world has been delayed? Brian, it would appear that it has. We also have some bullish news, obviously, that's leading to the futures higher here, but we're going to cover all of that here pretty soon. Producer, good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Zach McCracken, good morning. Solitary Soldier, good morning. By the way, YouTube still has these handles messed up, so I'm doing the best that I can. Hopefully they fix that. Last time it was only a day. Now it looks like it's a little bit longer here. Anyway, Peter, good morning. Good to see you again. RNA did get acquired. We'll take a look at that, but I don't think there's a trade there. Big Dave, good morning. Neville, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Catherine, good morning. Welcome back. Yassine, good morning. I think that's Big Dan. I can't remember what your YouTube name normally is, but Dan, good morning. It's great to see you again. Candace, good morning. Whis, good morning. Support. I don't know who you normally are. Sorry. Support, good morning. Golden Greenhorn, good morning. Graph, good morning. Transitions, stages of growth. Good morning. I think that might be Chuck. Anyway, good morning. New Vinci, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Kevin, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning. JJ, good morning. Love Hope, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Producer's always locked in, of course. Cam, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Knights Lance, good morning. Joe, good morning. Super Sam, good morning. Durkus, good morning. Jim, good morning. Good to see you again. Balto Pro, good morning. Good weekend of whiskey and football. That doesn't sound bad even a little bit. That doesn't sound bad even a little bit. And you know what's the great part about that? We've got more football here tonight. In fact, today is a sports equinox, folks. We've got playoff baseball, football, NBA, and NHL all on the same day. Should be a good evening. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Chart Hustle, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Lombardo Trades, good morning. Jane, good morning. Scott, good morning. Mama Bear, good morning. Ryan, is silver stupid to buy? I don't think metals are ever stupid to buy, quote unquote. My big thing with the metals that is different than most other people, I think you should own the physical metal. Like you should literally have chunks of silver and gold in your home. Personally. But buying these metals on a pullback, let's make sure that they're actually touching a support level before we end up trying that. We can take a look at some of that stuff too. Other streams do not have the handle name issue, says Day Trader. Day Trader, if this is true, that means that our producers need to get to work. Sounds like you're telling the producer to get to work here. That's what it sounds like. I've heard stuff like this. Sounds a lot like it. So it sounds like that's what's going on here. We'll see if we can get that fixed, though. Andrew, good morning. Haman, good morning. Darkside Hemi, good morning. Edward, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Supri, good morning. Let's see. Who else did I miss? Blaze Rhino, good morning. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Shane, good morning. And Jim, good morning. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at our stock market today. All right, oops, I got to share my screen. All right, futures pointing to a higher open here today. S&P futures up 0.8% or 0.8%. Dow futures up 0.45%, and NASDAQ leading the way higher by 1.26%. So green arrows across the board ahead of Monday's open here. Let's go ahead now and take a look at some cues from last session here. Most sectors on the S&P 500 closed on a positive note, with information technology, communication, and utilities recording their biggest gains on Friday. A lot of news affecting what's going on here today. Investors are eyeing multiple developments this week, which include the earnings reports of 5 firms amongst the Mag 7 constituents. Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta will announce on Wednesday. Apple and Amazon will report on Thursday. The Federal Reserve Open Market Committee will announce its decision on interest rates on Wednesday, and President Trump will meet with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping on Thursday in South Korea to finalize the deal framework reached by both sides to avert the looming 100% additional tariff. We did get some news from Trump and Bessent over the weekend about a deal being agreed upon in framework. No details of that deal have come out. That is definitely what we're waiting for here, but it does look like the market is optimistic ahead of that being finalized here. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.03%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.5%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here today. The first one is this merger and acquisition I want to get you caught up with. Avinity Biosciences, or ticker RNA, surged 42.56% in pre-market on Monday after Novartis, ticker MVS, which was down 1.04%, decided to acquire the former for $12 billion to strengthen its large-stage neuroscience pipeline and expand its RNA therapeutics portfolio. So RNA here being acquired, up 42%, no trade there. But if you had that stock, congrats. That is a big win. Next one on our list here is going to be Plymouth Industrial REIT. This is ticker PLYM. It was lower by 1.45% as it agreed to be acquired by Macarora, I think it's pronounced, Management LP, along with Eris Alternative Credit Funds in an all-cash transaction valued around $2.1 billion. Nucor is next on our list. That rose 1.07% ahead of its earnings, slated to be released after the closing bell today. Analysts are expecting earnings of $3.7 per share on revenue of $12.57 billion for the last quarter. New has kind of been in a weaker price trend. We'll see if that changes around here. Next on the list is going to be Whirlpool. This is a stock that someone from our happy hour has been discussing here recently. Whirlpool, ticker WHR, advanced 1% as analysts expected to report earnings of $1.41 per share on revenue of $3.93 billion after the bell closes, or after the closing bell today. Waste Management is the last stock on our list here. Waste Management shares were up to 0.26% as it is scheduled to report earnings after the bell. Analysts are expecting earnings per share of 2.02 on revenue of $6.5 billion. All right, let's go back to Pro and take a look at our SPY chart here and see where we start the week. So let's zoom in a little bit here. So it looks like we are breaking out here today. SPY 283.25 is your high print of the pre-market. Current price 282.63. So this is going to be a new all-time high. And just looking at the chart here, this is a clear breakout. Not only a breakout above the 672.99 previous level that we have identified, but also above the one day that we traded higher here. That value was 673.94. We are above both of those. So the downside key levels here today are going to be some of those. That previous all-time high of 673.94, you want to just call that 674? Sure. That will be a downside level here today. Might also want to take a look inside here at the SPY. This is what it looked like on Friday. So this 678.5 level right in here. We'll see if the SPY pulls it all here today, if it's actually able to stay above the intraday high from Friday. But all signs looking good, everything looking good here on the SPY and the rest of the broader market here today. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. The CEO of Unlimited Funds, Bob Elliott, warned in a Substack note that a, quote, surge in tariff-related price hikes, end quote, is keeping inflation stuck above 3%, effectively wiping out any disinflationary relief consumers were seeing from falling rents. He argued this dynamic is creating a squeeze on household spending as prices for goods soar. I'd like to know what goods he's talking about here, because I'll be honest, I don't see a whole lot of goods soaring in price recently, at least not where the goods that I've been buying in any case. According to him, the steady disinflationary pressures coming from calculated rents is being more than offset by new tariff-related inflation. His analysis points to data showing record high new car prices and a notable uptick in prices for both domestic and imported goods. Meanwhile, Charlie Bello, the chief market strategist at Creative Planning, sharply criticized official government inflation data, calling its calculation for health insurance, quote, absurd and, quote, clearly wrong, end quote. He highlighted a stark contradiction between government claims and the financial reality American families face, arguing that when it comes to health costs only go in one direction, that's up. That's true, but that's been the case the entire 41 years of me being on this planet. So relating that to tariffs doesn't really seem proper. The core of the issue, Bello explained, is government statistics claiming health insurance prices have fallen 18% in the last 5 years. He directly contrasted this with new data from KFF, a health policy research organization. Quote, if you look at this chart, you know, health insurance costs only go in one direction. That's up, end quote. So they're actually up 26% over the last 5 years, while the government is saying that they're down 18%. So we'll see which way this ends up going. Also, we'll see how this plays out for some of those healthcare stocks. I know there's a lot of you that were trading mostly UNH, but we could also throw Molina Healthcare in there, ticker MOH, and then Humana, ticker HUM. We'll see how all of those stocks end up doing. Now, the next big piece of news here today, Trump and Xi Jinping are set to finalize a deal as the U.S. and China de-escalate their trade tensions. Stock futures climbed on Sunday following a significant breakthrough in the trade negotiations between the U.S. and China during the ASEAN summit over the weekend, ASEAN. The deal framework reached by both sides helps avert the 100% additional tariff threat announced by President Trump earlier this month, which was set to go into effect on November 1st. It also expects to delay China's recent export controls on rare earth. According to U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, both sides have agreed to pause some of their recent punitive actions. He said the agreement includes, quote, a path forward where we can have more access to rare earths from China. We can try to balance out our trade deficit with sales from the United States, end quote. Chinese top negotiator Li Chenggang did not specify any aspects of the deal, but stated that both sides have reached a, quote, preliminary consensus, end quote, which will now undergo their respective internal approval process. The draft framework is set to be finalized by President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping when they meet on Thursday in South Korea. That's according to a report from the Washington Post. The NASDAQ 100 futures hit a new 52-week high on Sunday, rallying 0.84% or 214 points. S&P futures were up 0.65% or 44 points. And the Dow futures were up 242 points or 0.52%. Now, for any of you that want to go through any of the tweets that are in this, let me go ahead and drop this in the chat here for you. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index broke through the 50,000 point ceiling on Monday morning after rallying 1.88% or 924 points, currently trading at 50,224. The rally was led by manufacturing, heavy industrials, and other export-oriented stocks. The U.S. dollar index is down 0.14%, trading at 98.799 against a basket of other global currencies. Gold spot price is down 0.7, trading at $4,085.72 per ounce. Investors will be closely watching stocks such as Welltower, ticker WELL, Candace Design Systems, ticker CDNS, and NXP Semiconductors, ticker NXPI, among several others, which are also set to release their quarterly earnings on Monday. So like I said, we got a really busy week here. It starts today, and it's pretty much going to go all week into the Halloween holiday on Friday. Who else is excited for Halloween? Does anyone have any good costumes? Y'all should let me know. I'll just spoil it right now. I'm not dressing up for Halloween here, but I'm curious if any of you have any really good ideas. Producer and I kicked around one. I don't know if it's going to be feasible to do, though. You'll have to let me know. We'll see if anyone's got some good costumes here on Friday. All right. Next story here. Feds has the green light to cut rates after the soft inflation report that we got on Friday. A wide range of economists say the Federal Reserve now has the green light to cut interest rates following a cooler than expected inflation report that suggests price pressures are easing and that monetary policy can still shift towards the softening labor market. September's consumer price index showed headline inflation edging up to 3% year over year, but crucially, slightly below the 3.1% forecast. Core inflation, which strips out food and energy, slowed from 3.1 to 3, with a monthly increase of just 0.2, also below expectations. Adam Turnquist, chief technical strategist at LPL Financial, said the inflation data removes a major hurdle for the Fed and confirms that disinflation remains on track. Quote, "This is the green light for the Fed if they needed further evidence for a rate cut," end quote. So there you go, at least from Turnquist, where he's sitting, looks like this is a done deal here on Wednesday. However, Turnquist pointed to a growing disconnect between investors' expectations and the Fed's own guidance. The Fed's September dot plot indicated just 2 more cuts in 2025 and possibly 1 in 2026, a gap that, according to Turnquist, could become a source of market volatility. Economist Mohammed El-Arian said Friday's CPI report, quote, "makes a Federal Reserve rate cut next week highly probable," end quote, adding that future moves will depend on confirmation of a weakening labor market and continued disinflation in the months ahead. Jeffrey Roach, chief economist at LPL Financial, said tariffs are likely contributing to higher apparel prices in September, but broader inflation dynamics are improving. Quote, "Inflation metrics will likely improve by December, setting the Fed up to continue easing throughout 2026, end quote. Heather Long, chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union, said the rise in CPI was mostly due to higher gas prices and food prices, with some tariff impact visible. But core CPI came in cooler and, quote, "that should help the Fed focus on ensuring the labor market doesn't get any worse," end quote. Bill Adams, chief economist at Comerica Bank, said September's inflation undershoot was primarily due to housing-related disinflation, with home prices and rents continuing to rise more slowly than wages. The trend helped contain shelter costs and offset inflationary pressures from tariffs and labor shortages. Used vehicle prices also declined, which Adam linked to a weakening demand among lower-income consumers. Despite the overall cooling, Adams warned that certain categories are still experiencing double-digit price increases, many of which reflect structural issues tied to labor shortages and supply disruptions. The highlighted coffee prices, which are up 19% year over year. And by the way, I was saying earlier, I didn't see where some of these prices are. Coffee is definitely one that I have seen prices go up a little bit. But interestingly enough, I'm a coffee fanatic, as you folks all know. I've been buying Nespresso for a number of years. I am pleased to announce that the Nespresso pods, at least as far as I can tell, haven't changed in price at all. Now, that being said, they were a little on the high end anyway. They just happen to be absolutely delicious. So I've been buying them. But coffee prices, like whole bean coffee prices that you see at Costco, those are definitely up, although it's not up terribly. I actually go back and forth between those two, but I digress. He highlighted coffee prices, which are up 19% year over year, motor vehicle repairs, and home healthcare services, both of which are up 12%. Gardening and landscaping costs climbed 14%, while beef prices surged 15% due to ongoing drought conditions and reduced cattle herds. Economists note that the shift in the Fed's focus may already be underway. Richard Potts of Bonford said Friday's downside surprise reinforces the view that inflationary impact of Trump's tariffs have been overstated. He indicated that the Fed, quote, renewed scope of focus on the other half of its dual mandate, the labor market, end quote. Even in the absence of official data, private sector surveys and the Fed's own analysis suggest that the jobs market is still deteriorating, raising the stakes for. So again, all of this is basically saying that we are a go for the rate cuts here on Wednesday. Really, the question is going to be, is that priced in already? Is the market going to sell the news when we get that? Are corporate earnings going to kind of buoy some of that sell the news process? A lot to figure out there, and I'm curious to where all you folks fall on that. I'm sure there's going to be individual names here that do well and other individual names that do not necessarily do well, but curious to see where the group falls on that. What types of stocks are you looking to trade in particular this week, but also going forward? Bank of America economist Stephen Junot warned that the ongoing government shutdown could create a significant data gap in October. Now, we are also hoping that this government shutdown gets resolved, and the air traffic controllers and other government employees set to miss a check here. I don't really think anybody wants that. We'll see if we can end up making some more headway towards a resolution to the shutdown here this week. As if we don't have enough stuff to deal with here this week, it would be pretty crazy to see if that also ends up happening. But I'm looking ahead there. Quote, that means the Fed may not have a good read on inflation for its next meeting on December 9th and 10th, he said. Bank of America's read-through from the CPI to the Fed's preferred personal consumption expenditures index suggests the underlying inflation remains moderately, but not dangerously above target. This should keep the central bank focused on the labor market in the near term. Quote, in the absence of the September jobs report, an October cut appears to be a done deal, end quote. That again comes from Juno. While the bank isn't formally forecasting a December rate cut yet, he said that the Fed would be inclined to act again if the job market data remains unavailable by the December meeting. So we'll see. We'll see what we can end up getting here. Day Trader says it would help if Congress actually went into a session. I would completely agree with that. See if we get any more resolution here. When we first started talking about the government shutdown, one of the things that we shared all the time were the stats about how the market really likes to trade up during these. It's done the same thing. Let's see if we can get some resolution to that now. All right, folks. I know Monday we don't normally have a guest, but today is a special Monday, so we are absolutely going to bring on our special guest. Let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, I am here with special guest Nick Liuzza. Nick, how you doing? CEO of Beeline Holdings, CEO and co-founder, excuse me.
Hey, don't tip me on my title, please. I don't like that. Come on.
You earned that, and it is to make sure that you get paid forward on all of that. Nick, good morning. Happy Monday. How you doing here today?
I'm doing great, man. Love the conversation about interest rate cuts. I think they're going to happen, and it's great for our industry.
I was just going to say, as the CEO and co-founder of a small cap stock, you have got to be excited about interest rate cuts. Just kind of staying on that. Do you see more of that coming in 2026?
You know, the industry sort of like conversation was to survive to 2025. If you survive the 2025, 2026 is going to be the year. And that everyone in the industry was saying that back in 2022. And it looks like that's going to come true because I think everyone is optimistic and bullish about more rate cuts, affordability getting a bit better, and then supply and demand on the housing market, especially for first-time home buyers, becoming a little more realistic in their expectations and getting to the market.
Yeah, indeed. And those first-time home buyers, we're definitely waiting to see what kind of impact that has. I suspect there's going to be multiple tailwinds from that. Okay, really good stuff. Really quickly, for those that might have missed our last interview, I know you and I spoke not long ago, but for those that might have missed our last interview, can you tell us just a little bit about Beeline?
Yeah, Beeline is a digital mortgage lender really designed to accommodate the next generation or the millennials and the Gen Z. We built our brand, we built our platform for people that grew up with these phones when they had them in their pockets when they're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, right? And so our platform speaks to them. It allows them to get certainty on a mortgage within 7 or 8 minutes, 90% certainty. And oh, by the way, unlike other mortgage lenders, if we can't qualify you for a conventional mortgage, our AI will direct you to a non-qualified mortgage, which is more in line with many of the gig economy and gig workers in today's world. So if you go to a large bank or any very large lender, it's game over if you can't get approved for a a conventional mortgage. Whereas our AI will direct you to a wider variety of loans. So we're different. We're diversified, a diversified platform, and we got more options than most of the larger lenders do.
Okay, awesome. Just as kind of an aside, when I was applying for my first mortgage years ago, I couldn't get one from one
Yeah.
of the traditional huger lenders. I did have to go to a
Yeah.
smaller lender. So I actually have experience with that. Listen, you just had some amazing news this morning. So really
Yeah.
good timing here with this interview. Beeline launches the nation's first blockchain-powered home equity platform and begins scaling it nationwide. Can you tell us, what does this announcement mean?
Well, it means that we're now going to accommodate not only the millennials, but the baby boomers who are having trouble getting liquidity and living longer. Look, Mick Jagger's 82 years old. Keith Richards is 82 years old. They don't look like they're slowing down. And so just think about people that are outliving their retirement. Our product allows them to create liquidity or get liquidity by selling a fraction of their home to create cash. We then take that deed that we record and we mint it with our partner who mints tokens, sell those tokens, and creates liquidity by providing cash for these transactions that are not tied to P&I. There's no debt payments. They just basically sit on title until the property is sold, whenever that is, which creates liquidity and no tie to debt on a going forward basis. So we're very excited. We closed 5 transactions last week. We're going to close about another 25 over the next call it 45 days, and then we're taking orders or we're taking applications right now for 2026 because there's great demand for this product. We need to make sure we get this product right because there's not a lot of people out there doing these products, and the script isn't completely written from a regulatory standpoint, and you do have other sort of like concerns on the title side. So we're getting it right because we're not looking to grow 100 transactions, 50 transactions. We're looking to disrupt the industry heading into 2026.
And how will this disrupt the industry? Speaking of industry disruption, how do you plan on doing that?
Well, listen, we're going to drive consumers who need this product in the top 20% zip codes to start with. I think there's $10 trillion of available equity in those zip codes, primarily baby boomers who are living longer, need liquidity, and they can't get a cash out refi. They can't get a HELOC. And so, that's who we're speaking to with this particular product. Why is it disruptive? Well, it's disruptive because those people are having a tough time getting liquidity, and this product provides them liquidity.
Okay. Now, how has your view changed since the last time that we spoke? Has anything kind of changed in this segment?
I wouldn't say anything has changed, but it's a constant evolution here because this is breaking edge or bleeding edge stuff here. Like I said, there's not a lot of people doing these products right now. A lot of people are talking about it and have been for a long time. And initially, our product or our partner's product was going to be a stable coin. The Genius Act has changed that, right? Because a stable coin has to be tied to a dollar. In this particular case, we're tied to the public record on a one-to-one basis. So every time a deed is recorded, a token is minted. So nothing has necessarily changed. The plan is solid. The plan is the same. I just think there's more information coming out, and that there's an evolution in terms of how the process will work and how the transactions will be closed, recorded, and funded.
Okay, I got a great question here from one of our viewers. Will you take the whole home, or can you sell part of the home so that children can inherit the rest?
So that is an unbelievable question, and thank you for bringing that up because I forgot to mention that. One of the beautiful things about this particular product is it's a fractional sale of equity. So the investor has no rights to the property at all. The only right they have is to be paid back when the property is sold. So you as a consumer or homeowner can sell up to 49%. That's as high as we will go, up to 49% of the property, and the home is retained by the heirs. And so once that transaction or that property is sold or there's a transfer of ownership is when this actually is paid back. So it beats a reverse mortgage all day, every day. It's much less expensive and it's better for the heirs.
I was going to say that actually sounds like it's better for the heirs than a reverse mortgage. You took the words right out of my mouth. Mama Bear, there you go. I will tell my neighbor's children. Okay, great. So good. Glad we did this here. Yeah. Look, what else do you have in the pipeline that you can talk about?
Well, that's a great question. Look, I think the biggest thing is that the stars are lining up for a company like Beeline. Here we are with a really cool product that's addressing a need. And we've been building software with our foot on the gas pedal in a really tough market for the past 3.5 years. And now those tailwinds are turned into headwinds. I'm sorry, those headwinds are turned into tailwinds. And we're going to have two really good products addressing two really good demographics. And look, one would have been great, but two, in an emerging market, puts us in a really good spot to grow revenue very quickly. And our company is transformed, or is transforming, from software development. We've done $1 billion in mortgages so far, but all that's going to really increase very quickly in a more favorable market. So that's really what we're more concerned about right now, is scaling, making sure we can close transactions faster than our competition, and being competitive at the end of the day.
Okay. Do you see, just offhand, do you see any roadblocks between where you want to get to, between where you are now and where you want to get?
Yeah, I think the roadblocks, you always have roadblocks when you're building your company. There's, anyone that says there's not barriers, there's always barriers to deal with. The barriers are smaller. They're easier to get over. And I don't really see any major barriers at this point. I see green fields and green pastures, and the ability to really grow very quickly is what I see. Now, could that change? Yes, of course it could. But as of right now, it looks really good. Optimism is high in the industry, and optimism is certainly very high at Beeline.
Okay, that's really great to hear. Is there anything else that you would like to share with investors that I didn't cover or we didn't ask you here from the viewers?
Yeah. Well, last time you asked me this question, I just want to reiterate it. Remember, I have $16 million of my own money in the company. Our product team, which is based in Australia, who are awesome, they're all invested in the company with hard dollars. Our accounting team is invested in hard dollars. We sit side by side in the trenches, the shareholder trenches, with our shareholders. And so I just want everyone to know we have skin in the game just like everyone else.
Okay, well, it's a pretty good day here today. Beeline up 11% here in the pre-market. So should be a little bit better in those trenches here today. Nick, really appreciate it. Look forward to all this stuff. This type of stuff is exciting. I can't thank you for coming on a day where you release this news. Really appreciate it. Look forward to following up with you shortly.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That is Nick Liuzza, CEO and founder of Beeline. Really good stuff here today from Nick. And as mentioned here, Beeline indeed. Let me go ahead and share my screen here, folks. Here's just a quick look at the chart here on Beeline. This is actually a pretty good chart. This looks like it's coming up off the bottom, and technically speaking, looks pretty good above that 200 and now the 20. Sitting here 362 in the pre-market, again, up about 8% now. So ticker BLNE, Nick Liuzza, CEO and co-founder. Really, really awesome stuff there. We're going to keep checking in with companies and CEOs like this as they continue to try and disrupt the industry. I love everything about that. I love the added comments that we got on the interest rate cuts. Looking like that's also really, really good. Really, really excited. This is exciting times here, no doubt. All right. So I also wanted to do a couple. I think we've got one more kind of a tongue-in-cheek news here. We are expecting 13. We are going to go over some of the movers there as well. But I did want to discuss one more thing here. Let me go ahead and share the news here. The White House depicts Trump as a Halo Master Chief. I also did not have this on my bingo card here this morning, that's for sure. Marking the official cessation of the console wars. One of the reasons that we're bringing this up here today is that GameStop is actually trading higher here this morning. GameStop up about $1.30 from the close on Friday, interestingly enough. The White House has shared an image portraying President Trump as the iconic Halo character Master Chief from the popular video game Halo, following GameStop's recent announcement marking the end of the console wars. I almost can't believe it. The image posted late on Sunday depicts Trump saluting the American flag with an energy sword. White House added the caption, "Power to the players." So GameStop here, maybe tongue-in-cheek here, saying that the console wars are over. What is this actually about? GameStop declared the end of the console wars following the announcement that Halo Campaign Evolved, the rebuilt version of the original Halo Combat Evolved, is coming to PlayStation 5 in 2026. So Halo, for any of you that are not necessarily into video games, Halo traditionally an Xbox-only title, now looks like they're bridging the gap and moving to PlayStation, and they're having a little fun with that. They're having a little fun with that with some of these images here. I wonder what this will mean for GameStop as a trade here today. I also wonder what this means for Halo as a game franchise now spreading over to the cross-platform era. GameStop's announcement calls on gamers to cease hostilities, disband militias, and enjoy this new era of gaming. Boy, they're really taking it a little bit further here with that. The post can be interpreted as a sign that the industry's growing push towards cross-platform collaboration. Microsoft, ticker MSFT, and the developers 343 Industries announced that Halo Combat Evolved will launch on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC in 2026, the first time in nearly 25 years that the franchise will appear on a non-Xbox console. So earlier, GameStop stock was the hot topic on Reddit's Wall Street Bets, driving the retail-driven meme stock trend. However, the stock's momentum has since cooled down. Is this enough to kind of kick that up? We'll see. We'll see. Just figured this would be kind of a fun one here. And then the other thing that I have here for you today, Chris Catchy, one of our writers here, does a great job with a lot of articles. I don't know if we're necessarily going to have the time to cover all of this, but I definitely wanted to give this to you folks. This is fresh from this weekend. Chris here, each week, Benzinga's Stock Whisper Index uses a combination of proprietary data and pattern recognition to showcase 5 stocks that are under the surface and deserve attention. This is a kind of a preview to some of the content that you get in the Benzinga Edge subscription, which is our kind of our I don't want to say lightweight, our introductory sub-level to the Benzinga ecosystem. And there are a number of stocks in here. And a lot of these are stocks that we often take a look at. AMAT, ticker AMAT. This is one that we've actually traded before. Rambus, ticker RMBS. Anico Eagle Mines. Lion, you out there? Your favorite stock made Chris Catchy's list. How about that? AEM, the gold mining company, lands on this week's list with shares up nearly 100% year to date in 2025. Company is set to report third quarter fiscal results on Wednesday. Also on here, Sterling Construction, Spotify. So if any of you are looking for some trading ideas, Chris does a really good job. He also does articles that highlight the stocks that were searched in Benzinga Pro on a monthly basis. Didn't want to go through the whole thing here and blow you guys away through news, but here you go. That is in the chat for you if you're interested in any of these ideas. Okay, I do see the chat there, and I do, out of the corner of my eye, see Andis spiking here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this together. Obviously, this news was not out prior to the open here. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. Andis up 10.5% here in the pre-market, looking pretty good. Andis to acquire the controlling interest in 4M Defense. Terms are not disclosed. This integrates smart demining capabilities, terrestrial and subsurface robotics, and AI-powered intelligence platform. Really quick, just kind of, I haven't even dug into the PR yet, but just thinking about our interview with Eric Brock the last time we had him on, he told us verbatim that this was going to be a technology stack, that the end goal here for Andis was going to be the technology angle of this, not just a bunch of little drones buzzing around. And it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing here, starting to add some more capabilities here. Terrestrial and subsurface robotics, AI-powered intelligence platform. I want to go through this a little bit more so I understand some of the content here. 4M Defense is not a company that I'm familiar with. The market loves this, though. Stock is trading up here, 828 in the pre-market. It is at the pre-market highs. It's actually above the high that it made on Friday when it traded up. So good news here for Andis. Again, as I've told you guys, the way that I'm handling this was a load up when this was sub $1. So the remaining shares that we have here, we are trying to let them run. We are trying to let our winners run here, and we will trim as the stock moves up. I know Andis has had kind of a pretty nasty pullback from the nearly $12 highs that it put in recently. Good news here is that we really found support on the 50-day moving average. Again, I just want to remind you folks how fast this stock moved. This stock was $1.14 back in May, at the end of May. We printed almost $12 on the head. We pulled back to the 50-day moving average, which was right around $7. So far, we've held that. And it looks like now, as far as a key level goes, we have the 20-day moving average in sight here, really only 60 cents or so away from where we're at. That value, $8.89. We'll see if we can recapture that here. The one thing to keep in mind, if Andis does trade up towards this 20-day and really can't break it, yes, we will have the makings there of a kind of a janky head and shoulders there. Let's see what happens, though. Looks like we're getting some more good news here this morning. Again, pre-market high, 834 there on ONDS. Okay. Felicia says, awesome news for Andis. Thank you, Ryan. You got it. Again, we try to, it was a long time coming with this name. But we'll try to uncover a lot of these, and that's why we also continue to bring CEOs on here to discuss some of the news like we did here on Beeline. So really, really good stuff here today. All right. It's going to be time for movers here. Also going to be time for some of the other stocks that you folks want to take a look at. We're definitely going to have 13. I talked to him last night. He's probably sleeping off that big Packers win, I would guess. Let's see what else that we have in here real fast. So I did also want to mention here, I want to thank our news desk team. We did bring the CEO for Beeline on here today, but we also had another exclusive here, this one on a penny stop. This is CODX. I feel like several of you folks have traded CODX here before, ticker CODX. They also had some exclusive news here. Signs a definitive agreement with the Arabian Eagle in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to establish Comira Diagnostics and localize CODX PCR platform across the Middle East. Okay, so another exclusive. Boy, our news desk team not taking the weekend off. CODX here, your penny stock, that up 25, almost 26% here in the pre-market. So a couple of exclusives here from our news team. Really good stuff there, folks. Really good stuff there. Okay. Are there any stocks that you folks want to take a look at before we dive into the movers here with 13? Let me see if I missed anything. I probably missed some of your comments during the interview, and I'm sorry about that, but I needed to pay attention. And then, oh, you know what? So while we were looking at that news there for Andis, we might as well also take a look at Arcat. This has been another one of our drone players that has been pretty good for us. Arcat here looks like they're also having a pretty good morning. A lot of stuff up here in the pre-market on the back of the de-escalation of the China trade tensions. Easy for me to say. Arcat here actually looks like, actually, did this trade up earlier today? Yeah, so this was right ahead of that 8 o'clock PR there. Looks like Arcat might try to make a move towards that 1250. This is where we found resistance before. Yeah, last time we traded up here, we actually found some resistance. We'll see now if we can get back above that. We do have a recent high of about $16 here. Was that our, yeah, 16 and change here on Arcat. Looking pretty good. See if we can get rolling here. This also moving a little bit higher here in the pre-market. Okay, that was one of the stocks that you mentioned, Andis. We took a look at that. Andis acquiring, yep, we took a look at that. It sounds like you're saying counsel, not counsel. I probably did not enunciate that well enough, day trader. That's actually really good feedback. I will try console. I will try and do a better job there. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? Glad about Carl says, glad I bought a bunch of Andis stock on Friday. That's pretty good. I'll take that. NEUP you guys are mentioning here. I didn't see that on my movers list, but that was another recent mover for us. Let's take a look and see what's going. Oh, you know what we should take a look at real quick? I got one. It's not good news, but it's news nonetheless, and we should absolutely take a look at it. Here's NEUP. I don't see anything going on here. I know stock's down 6%, but it looks like on very, very light volume. We don't have any news here. It was just the news from Friday. So it looks like there was trading higher. There's a Form 4 there. Okay, so I don't see anything new here on NEUP. Maybe we get some continued move from the what we had there on Friday, but I don't see anything fresh here today in terms of news. But I do have one stock. That had some news here today, And I didn't have a story for it or anything, so we might as well take a look at it together. NTLA, which has been one of the big gene editing stocks. We've traded this a bunch recently. This actually made some pretty good moves recently. I think it appeared on the scanner when we were trading it here a couple of times. But NTLA had some real bad news here. Stock's getting pounded in the pre-market, down 44%. This is actually up off the lows that it was at from earlier. But no bueno here, NTLA. Intelia provides an update on its magnitude clinical trial. Halts the CRISPR drug trials for amyloidosis to investigate a serious liver event. Screening for magnitude 2, phase 2 clinical 3 studies on next. Yeah. So I think that they had some real bad data here. His temporary paused patient dosing and screening. No good here. The patient, here it is. The patient was hospitalized and is being closely monitored and is receiving medical intervention. Intelia is consulting with experts and considering potential risk mitigation strategies and engaged with the regulatory authorities. So really no good here. I don't have a trade on this. I don't own this myself. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to trade this for a dead cat bounce here today. Down 44%. I know that's bad, but frankly, I feel like this could fall even more. Not great. Not great here at all. Ticker NTLA. That continues to get pounded. Okay. That's your news there. Let's go back here. Let's go ahead and bring on 13. Let's see how he's doing. Got a smile here from ear to ear, it looks like. 13, how you doing? I know you liked that Packer game last night.
Oh, yeah. We had a lot of love for love yesterday. We took it. That was great. We really took it.
A lot of love for
Aaron
love.
Rodgers.
Wow.
Yeah. Really took it to Aaron Rodgers yesterday with his new team. We'll say.
Okay. Look, when 13 shows up here, he's got a smile from ear to ear and he's laughing this early on a Monday. Generally speaking, that's a good sign here, 13. You want to just dive into some of these movers right away?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
How is everybody this morning, by the way? How are you?
You know what? I'm doing really good. It's not a victory Monday. I've had 4 in a row, which was pretty good. A little bit disappointed. Here's the one thing that I'm the most disappointed about, 13. I must have been off by like 4 different parlays over the course of this weekend. Between Saturday and Sunday, I was so close. Like, we're talking single-digit yards on some of the props, single-digit shots on some of the hockey bets. I was so close on cashing like 3 or 4 parlays here this weekend, and I ended up with nothing. So get another chance here tonight. It's a sports equinox tonight with baseball, hockey, football, and basketball all being played. So I woke up in a great mood, absolutely in a great mood.
Yeah, this game with Washington, the matchup between you and I kind of hinges on that, doesn't it?
You know what? I actually didn't check. Oh, that's right. We're playing each other in fantasy. Yeah. Boy, this week just keeps getting better and better.
Right.
We're playing each other in fantasy, and our matchup isn't even decided here today. You know, I didn't even look. Oh my goodness! You're going to win, though, I think.
After that game yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Love really, really getting it done. We'll see, though. We'll see how today goes. That's always fun. But all right, in any case, let's go ahead and break down some of the movers here. The first one I have is BKYI. This is BioKey International. Stock looks like this traded up to about 215 here today. Slowed down a little bit. BioKey International and IT2 Trust partner to strengthen the IAM and biometric security across the Nordic regions of Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland. Okay, so really quick here. BioKey announcing a new partnership with IT2 Trust to boost cybersecurity, but they're focusing on biometrics here. Now, I don't own this stock. I don't have this stock, but I absolutely love this news. And we're going to talk about why I love this news, because I think that this is kind of hitting at another theme here. 13, before we dive into that, let's very quickly run through what's going on with BKYI. So there's the news here for you. Take a look at the short interest, negligible, 0.3% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. I don't think there's going to be any squeeze action here today. On average, the stock trades 126,000 shares, so this thing is a ghost town. Be careful. But today we've traded 133 million, so if you're going to trade it today, make sure you have your trade wrapped up. Float here is 6.6 million. 13, what do you think here on ticker BKYI?
Well, I think what you're thinking is that this is going to be part of, or this could be one of the names that's in the identity verification theme that we've been talking about. And
You are spot on, brother.
I think you might be right. This is a company that specializes in fingerprint biometric technology and also develops markets for identity verification technologies as well. So this is right in the exact thing that we're talking about here. This has 6.6 million shares in the float. It's not profitable, but it has about a quarter's worth of cash. So I would expect that this does some kind of capital raise. It's going to need it. But this very much in the wheelhouse of what we're talking about with that theme. Now, as far as the chart goes, we have come up to a previous area where it ran before. Oh, by the way, there has been nothing but insider buying with this company. Insider buying and grants. I have yet to see any sells. That's a very good sign.
It looks like the last insider buy was down sub $1 there, 79 cents, 77 cents, 70 cents, 78 cents.
Yep.
So they're already up 100% from those insider buys.
Yep.
Those were back in September. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are, there's nothing but insider buys. I mean, I looked through the entire list, just grants and buys. So they are picking up their own company here. As I said, 1 quarter's worth of cash. They're going to need to do a capital raise. To the chart now, they're trading up to where we the last time it was up at the $2 range, which was quite a while ago, I think. Looks like back in December was the last time this went up this high. As a matter of fact, it went up to 368 back in December. Or I'm sorry, that was January. December was the first impulse move that it had that took it up to 269. But anyway, that was the last time it was up here. So we're revisiting from almost a year ago. The big hold on, let me just move back over here to my broker. One of the levels that we're going to want to keep an eye on is $2. There are some sellers in the way there, stacking up. 210 is another one. We had the high of 216. I also have 215 marked off, so that area as well. And then, of course, 230. We do have some other levels beyond that, but for now, let's see if we can get up to 230. It looks like the formation that we have here is trying to get this to curl up and recapture 2. So I think if we get that recapture of 2, we're probably going to see some more increased volume pour into this. So just keep an eye on BKYI. I think we're setting up to make a good move to the upside here.
I think you're right. Volume looks good here in the pre-market. Action looks good here in the pre-market. Anything that can be construed as a pullback was bought. It's not really breaking down yet. We'll see if that continues into the regular session. And don't worry, I'll get to the Lulu news. Don't worry, that for sure is good news here. And if you had that for a seasonality trade, you're doing all right here. Next here is going to be Soho. This is Southerly Hotels, and I don't think this is a trade here. No. This is bought out for $225 a share, $95 million deal here.
Yep. And as is all the other tickers that start with SOHO and then they go on with O or N or B. There's just different series of preferred notes. So there you have all those there. Those are all up, or most of them are. I think one of them's down. But these are, the SOHO is just the commons. That's the one that's up the most. But anyway, this is getting taken over.
Yeah, engaged in hotel operation. This is getting taken over in a $95 million deal. No trade there. Okay, next here is going to be Click. This is ticker CLIK. This is Click Holdings. You can see this did trade up on Friday. Reported Friday. Click Holdings Limited shares are trading higher following the full year 25 financial results. So they actually did get some results that caused the stock to move higher on Friday. Doing again here in the pre-market. Full year EPS was a 161 loss and sales were 10.7 million. Now, I don't know what the estimates are here, but the market obviously likes this stock still holding higher here by just about 83%. It is worth noting that in the pre-market, we traded up to 18 and we bled back just about 7 full points of that. So we are considerably beneath the VWAP. We're holding higher from the area that we held in Friday's after-hour session. It really looks like 1075, 1050 is going to be your pre-market support area. We do have the 200 EMA slightly beneath that at 985. Quick look at the short interest on this name, 3.98% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. It comes on an average volume of 135,000 shares. Today we've traded 9.9 million. Float here, micro float, 425,000 shares in the float. 13, what do you think here for Click?
Well, you pointed out something really important with the chart there, where we were coming down to the low that you had mentioned. That's actually the high from the after hours before we had that impulse move this morning that took us up towards 1830. That range there that you're going to see, it's pretty much you mentioned the bottom essentially with the 200 EMA. That's the low of that demand zone. The high is where you said the low of the pre-market is. So that range in there, if we do lose that 10, I think you said 1075 or something like that.
Yep.
If we do lose that level, I still think that we have a chance for support down around the 200 EMAs with that sideways consolidation from the after hours on Friday. That's going to create a demand zone. I think that's going to help turn the price around if it gets down there. So we'll see what we end up getting there. But I think that is an important area to watch for. As far as the news goes, yeah, it's from Friday, so not sure why we're getting so much of a continuation. I didn't look at the earnings that much to see how good they were. It didn't have a whole lot of information on the headlines, but this company does make a profit slightly. So I don't know that they're going to need to raise capital. They don't have a whole lot of that either, so they still might. But they do seem to have their finances somewhat in order. So maybe there's a capital raise coming. I'm not sure about this one. But we do want to keep an eye on that area that I mentioned, because I think this one we're going to want to follow the technicals. We do have the VWAP to the upside as resistance, as well as the 65 EMA. 65 EMA really keeping the pressure on the upside right now. So if we can just climb over that and make our way up towards VWAP, we might have something a turnaround going here. Still plenty of resistance levels to the upside on this one, but that's the first thing we need to see.
Okay, we'll see if it can hold this area. Really good stuff, and indeed, that is at the top end of that range. Okay, I'm going to keep moving down the list here. Next I have is TGL. This is one that we've traded a whole bunch here on the show before, right off the scanner. Treasure Global is back, folks. This thing was a penny stock on Friday and last week, but we popped into dollar territory here today. In fact, in the pre-market, we were as high as $1.54 before really pulling back. We've made 2 attempts to get above the VWAP, and both attempts have been straight up rejected. So be careful on this one. We really want to see this get above the VWAP and hold. Let's take a look and see if we had any news here on TGL. Friday after hours here, it looks like they announced, well, this was actually right before the close there. They announced an inducement grant under the NASDAQ listing rules. So they acquired, Treasure Global acquires AI server in a recent deal. Now, that was actually from Thursday. So it looks like this is a little bit of continuation here. It's up about 46%. If we take a look at the short interest, 6.31% of the float shorted here, and that comes on 1 day to cover. Pretty negligible, to be honest. 8.3 million shares in the float. On average, we trade 2.6. Today, we've traded 43. What do you think here, 13? I personally think I'm going to avoid this one here today, but I'm curious. What do you think on TGL?
This has a history of just popping and dropping, and that's all it's done.
Yep.
Ever since the last time we even traded this thing, just pops, drops, and continues lower. So what I expect out of this one, we're going to open higher relative to Friday's close. We might get a pop out of the gate that takes us up a little bit more. And then we're going to spend the rest of the day selling off. That's what I think we're going to get out of TGL, because I've got a lot of history here that says that's what's going to happen. So there you go.
Okay, I'm with you on this. This to me seems like an avoid, 13, to be quite honest with you. I'll probably just avoid this one.
Like I said, there should be some quick out of the gate move. I don't know how much you're going to be able to get out of that, or if it even is worth trying. But after that, and maybe it takes a little while, but I think you're going to see this just sell off after you get that move up.
Okay. Yeah, for those of you talking about the usernames, I don't know what's going on here. It definitely causes producer pain. It causes me pain too. I am concerned that Day Trader is telling us that it doesn't happen on all other channels. That makes me think that we're doing something wrong here. And I will task the producer into figuring that out. In the meantime, I'm going to keep doing the best I can with the handles.
Here we go with BKYI. We got over $2 and now we're off.
Look at that. Didn't even wait for the regular session here. Indeed, we are off. Okay, that was actually a nice little curl and a test there of those pre-market highs.
So 230 is the next resistance, 270 after that. And let's go to something else. We'll see if we even get to 270. But I think somewhere in the threes is going to be the next resistance after 270. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Next on the list here is going to be Rect. And it looks like this did, in fact, get wrecked. That's ticker RECT, Rectitude Holdings.
Terrible name for a ticker.
I mean, look,
it's so bad.
If they're gonna name their ticker something this dumb, I'm gonna try and have some fun with it. That's just what I do here. Rectitude Holding partners with Pansic to expand energy storage business across Asia and the Middle East. Signs a 2.3 million. What is that? SG. What money is that? What denomination is that? Anyway, 2.3 million deal to grow the Super Sun energy system in those global markets. That's what's going on here with Rect. Now, the price action was in fact wrecked. This did trade up to 10, got straight up mutumboed, and it's back down here at 471. It's actually lost over 50% of the entire stock price. Waved goodbye to the VWAP 3 points ago and didn't even stop and chill. We've actually lost the 9 EMA, the 15 EMA as well. We are approaching the 65 EMA that we've talked about quite a bit here. That value at 437. We'll see if that gives it any support. But good Lord, just looking at the volume chart here, as soon as this turned over to selling volume, that was it. There were basically no buyers at all on this. Quick peek at the short interest, negligible. 0.05% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. It comes on an average 100-day volume of 11,000 shares. Not a misprint, folks. 11,000 shares. That's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Today we've traded 15.8 million. Float on this is 3.4 million. 13. What do you think on getting wrecked today?
I'm not going to even respond to that question. The way you fielded that to me, I just, hey, you do you, tough guy. Yes, and SG is Singapore dollar. Yep.
Singapore dollars. Okay.
As far as this one goes, I mean, you said we traded. It normally trades. Okay, so we traded 15 minutes. Okay, so this is actually doing something. This is giving everything back that it just did, but we are coming down to the 65 EMA. If we don't get support there, maybe it's a 200, but at that point, we're just right back at the starting point again. Maybe after this is finished getting wrecked, there's going to be something to trade here, but I don't know that there's a lot to get excited about right now with this one. Volume is continuing to wane even further. I would say wait and see what we get out of the open. If this is starting to show signs of life again, there might be a trade here, but it looks like this is coming right back into where it started.
Okay. We'll see if anyone else gets wrecked here today. Good stuff there. It looks like a lot of you are mentioning ASST here in the pre-market. ASST, this is Strive. This thing was a penny stock last week, popped in at the end of the Friday session, went higher in the after hours, and went higher again here in the pre-market. Was actually doing a really good job staying above the VWAP until just recently. Let's see what we got here.
Wasn't there news on Friday that I think that's what's happened here, the news on Friday?
Yeah, so Strive, shares spike higher. Traders circulate Mike Alfred post on X saying, I've taken an initial 1 million share stake in Strive Asset Management. Strive is one of the most promising Bitcoin treasury companies globally, trading at an attractive level. Well, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn to our resident Bitcoin treasury expert day trader, and I'm going to ask him, what do you think of ASST? How does that rate in terms of a better treasury strategy company? I know several of you folks were probably talking about this on Friday for ASST. We're holding higher here by 30% in the pre-market. Looks good. I don't have a short interest reading here because I have a zeroed out float. What do you have for the float? Do you have anything in your broker for this one?
For ASST, let's see here. I have 362 million shares, almost 363.
In the float? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And I have 13.28 million shares held short. So there's some short interest here, but that doesn't really sound like a lot at all.
No.
And I would imagine that the days to cover on this was already pretty low. This thing's pretty, yeah. I don't think you're going to have a short squeeze action here. It's traded 224 million shares here today, which is one of the reasons it's up 30%. On average, it trades over 17. I don't think you're going to get a short squeeze here. But this is what's going on with ASST. And looking at the chart here, maybe as long as this can hold that 65 EMA, maybe this will give us a trade. It's done that twice already in the pre-market here today.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to
saying
find...
this was down 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was up here. 6, 7. Yeah, Izzy, this was, I think, down it was down this day. You're right.
And they're mentioning that this is a big pump, and I was looking to see what they did a couple months ago that was being brought up. It looks like it had to do something to do maybe with a merger between Strive and Semler Scientific. That's the most recent big news I think I see there. But anyway, I don't know what else to make of this. Good luck.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like this is just kind of coming off the bottom here. Izzy here mentioning that this was a pump by Mike. Day trader saying Mike Alfred is a big dude in the trading crypto bridge, in the TradeFi crypto bridge underway. My last note had ASST holding almost 6,000 Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin IO gives us on this one.
So we are getting support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute for ASST. Maybe that helps turn this around here and recapture VWAP. Other than that, I don't know enough about this company.
Yeah, Interestingly enough, bitbo.io, which is what I've been using for these treasuries, doesn't have this listed at all. Let me figure, that might be operator error. Let me figure that out when I'm not actually on stream. In any case, ASST is a garbage stock that was pumped. It's cheap, not a huge risk. Okay, we'll see. This is Vivek Ramaswamy's anti-woke company. Okay, I don't know necessarily how all that works. Nonetheless, here this is up in the pre-market. Maybe we get. I'll tell you what. Just kind of looking at how it's behaving here in the pre-market, this looks better than some of the other ones. Get in there.
It looks like there was a gap fill that it performed at the open here. So if you're just looking at a daily chart, this move back in from October 10th to the 13th that weekend, there was a gap down. We are filling it in the pre-market here. It fills at what is this 155.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a level to watch for today. And we're just 10 cents away from it. So as we approach the open, maybe that's an area that we want to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Protection.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's possible resistance about 9 cents ahead of where the price currently is. So we'll see if that ends up doing anything there. Okay. Really quickly, that was everything, right? Did you have anything else on the list that I missed, 13? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. What I did want to look at here real quick was Lulu. Tennis is life. I saw that you were posting this news earlier, and indeed, this is news. Lululemon here. Lululemon is up nearly 6% in the pre-market here, 188.65. When we take a look at the chart here, first of all, who's excited about Lululemon trading higher? Did anyone got any new Lulu gear that they want to talk about recently? 188 here in the pre-market. We have a gap that fills at just about 200. We're only about 11.5 points away from that now. The good news here is that we were actually banging against the 50-day moving average, and today's news pops us through. What's the news? The king of news. Lululemon shares are trading higher after the Bloomberg report indicated the company will sell NFL apparel for the first time through a deal with Fanatics. Lululemon selling NFL apparel. Who's ready for leggings of your favorite team? Who's ready for that? 13, I know you don't wear leggings, so we won't force you to answer. Of our female viewer contingent out there, who is going to get more Lulu leggings because of this NFL deal? I'm curious to know. I'll say this. Unless they have a product that I can't think of right now, I'm not sure how great this is for myself personally. The good thing that I want to add to this piece of news, in addition to doing some really good technical work here on the chart, let's not forget Lululemon has excellent seasonality now through the rest of the year. So real quickly here, I've been talking about this one for a while because it's really been seasonality that has kind of been dictating how Lulu gets traded here. Let me just show you what I'm taking a look at here. Real quick, here's a seasonality chart for Lulu. Between October 24th and December 8th, you can see that this chart is straight up. Straight up. In fact, only 2018 did this trade not work. 2021, it was about flat. If we look at some of the stats here, this trade profitable about 80% of the time. And when it makes a gain of nearly 20%.
Let's see what happens the day after we watch the Chiefs game where Taylor Swift shows up in Lululemon Kansas City leggings.
Oh,
I would send this.
My God. If Taylor Swift was put on TV wearing NFL branded Lululemon apparel, this stock trades up at least 10% the next day.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to happen. 13. I love
neither.
where your head's at here. I really do. I love where your head's at here. But this is what's going on with Lulu. This stock is up 6%. I would not be surprised if we see 200 in very, very near term. Don't forget, you also have the chart telling you that there's a gap fill up towards 200. So we were already above the 20. So it looks like maybe we already kind of changed the downtrend that we were in. Now with today's news, we move above the 50. If we close above the 50, I got to think that's going to be pretty good. Plus, we have a potential gap fill here. Oh, yeah, by the way, the 100-day is only 3 points above that, and your 200-day up there at 266. So if this is, in fact, a trend change and the seasonality holds, I could see a swing trade on Lulu up towards that 250 area.
Chat's on fire today.
Yeah, you look like Travis Kelce. This is the first time I've heard that.
Kelce. Okay.
It's the first time I've heard that.
Thank you.
Jay Rice saying, stuff your football. Scotty Scheffler with Lulu would get me excited. You know what's funny about that, Jay? I was kind of making a joke about not looking to buy Lululemon pants that had a big Bears logo on it. The more I think about it, the more I probably would buy something like that. But that's neither here nor there. What I will say is that a golf partnership with this would be great because these clothes are already really good for golf. And now you're talking about more stuff on top of that. Jay, I would agree with you here. Lulu partnership with Scotty Scheffler would be a good one.
I'm only, it's, I know we're all joking here, but I'm only bringing this up because, it's kind of something that I've noticed about Taylor Swift is that she gets her hands in everything. Look at what she's done with Netflix. She's got her hands in a lot of that. Yeah. I don't think I think that there's a very high probability that she had her hands in getting the Chiefs game to be broadcast on Netflix. She's also aware of Lululemon, so it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if she showed up one day in one game this season wearing some new Lululemon outfit that was Kansas City branded. It would not shock me, and I think it would be great for the stock.
Okay, well, let's see here. Samel saying in Team Sydney versus Team Taylor, I'm Team Taylor. I
am for both.
I will be on Team Sydney. I'll just throw that one out there right now. I am definitely on Team Sydney.
Why not?
13 piece. He'll go for both. All right, really quickly here. Let's instead of a fake fight that nobody needed, let's also take a look at a stock that's actually moving here. Kit had news. Thank you, Tennis, for mentioning this here in the chat. Kit does in fact have news. Nauticus Robotics improves its balance sheet through converting 3.7 of debt to equity. This stock was about $1.85. We are tapping for stock's up 100+% on the back of that news. Looking pretty good here. $250 million equity facility and launches a strategic initiative to enter deep sea rare earth mineral exploration market. Oh man, this is what it's moving on. that the debt to equity is good, but I think that this rare earth mineral exploration market, that's what's really driving this here, over 100%. Let's take a quick look at the, oh my gosh, short interest. This actually has some 17.52% of the float shorted. It only has 1.32 days to cover, and that only comes on 500,000 shares of average volume. Today, it's 8.8 million. Float on this just shy of 5 million. Kit, this is rolling. You know what? The other thing on this one, doesn't Rich Tech Robotics have a conference? Don't they have news coming? Izzy, where are you at? You've been a big follower of Rich Tech Robotics. I feel like we've taken a look at that several times over the past couple of weeks. Aren't we expecting news from them pretty soon? I know that's a big story trading name. I'm pretty sure they were talking about that too. Let me know, but I'm kind of being reminded here. 13, what do you think on this?
I'm trying to look and see if I'm right about what I okay. So I thought that
you were looking into Taylor Swift, weren't you?
You got me.
You were looking for Taylor Swift buying NFL leggings.
So I was looking to see if LAES, Seals SQ Corp, because I thought I remember them working together, is working with KITT. I'm just was trying to look and see if they worked together at some point, and because I thought they did. So that's what I was searching up at the moment before you thought I was looking for Taylor Swift.
I was just joking.
But sorry, I haven't been able to get results yet. But as far as this one goes, let me just look at the chart here.
And I'll go back to Kit here in a sec. Izzy, I know you said RR, yes. Let me see if I can find that. We also had news here on Rich Tech today. So it looks like multiple robotics companies, Vegas Golden Knights and Rich Tech Robotics, partner to help shape the future of sports and technology. Okay, I'd like to know how. Maybe I should actually read this.
It's real interesting that Rick. Nauticus, they on Thursday or Wednesday, it looks like they received a NASDAQ deficiency letter, and that took this stock down over the past few days. So then we get this news that's turning it around. So there's still that NASDAQ compliance issue, and I imagine they're going to be just fine. Let me just look here at their float. They're going to get a compliance notice that they've they're within compliance again if they continue to hold above a certain price. I haven't looked to see what the exact problem is for getting the letter, but I imagine it was their their share price. Looks like from the last levels that I had, we're trading above one of them around 350. 445 is next, and then $5 after that. So if we continue upwards, those would be the resistance levels. But
okay.
Sorry, I don't have more on this. There's just a lot of different things that I would need to look at here first. But just keep in mind it did get initially pulled down last week from that delisting notice.
And by the way, you actually have a gap fill here. You're 693 up to 792. So you have $1 gap between in that 7 handle if it can get above that $5 resistance that you had. That's KIT. KITT.
Lots of path to journey to get up there, but 65 EMA on the daily. That's what I think would be the big one that needs to get over first, and that's at 480. So let's see what happens at 480 if we can even get up there. If we do, and we start recapturing some other levels, yeah, we'll look and absolutely be keeping an eye on that gap fill that you just pointed out.
Bob bringing up a good piece of information here. Nauticus has actually had 2 reverse splits in 2024. July of 2024, it did a 1 for 36. But recently, in September of this year, September 5th, it did a 1 for 9 reverse.
I don't think they're not doing any more reverse splits to this year. I don't think they'd do another one. They could, but I would be really surprised if they did one right after the other like that. It's not something you see very often at all.
Yeah. So with this, okay, so this is pulling back here off that impulse move. I've got VWAP here, 341. Stock's currently at 348. Let's see if it holds VWAP. This to me does feel like one, maybe let that opening print shake out, especially with the news a little bit later in the pre-market.
This is where I think it needs to hold support because this was the previous resistance area from all the sideways price action since the beginning of September. So if we can hold above here, above this like a 345, 350 area, should be able to reverse and go higher, but we'll see what we end up getting. We still have 20 minutes before we open.
Okay, losing the VWAP here as we speak. Okay, well, that was it for the movers here. I do want to take a look at, you guys are mentioning Buru. I don't know why you guys keep mentioning this penny stock. It's up a little bit here again. Does look like it's trading up here. I'm sorry, guys. Buru's not something that I'm trading here. Maybe this takes out 50 cents. We'll see. If it does, maybe it can go up to that previous high of 85. But I don't, was there news on this? No, last news here was from Wednesday. Guys, we generally don't cover penny stocks here. So probably not going to cover it. We'll see if Buru gets some action here today. I did want to take a look at SoFi though, a real stock. SoFi here, higher in the pre-market. They have earnings tomorrow before the market opens. So let me know if any of you are actually trading this for earnings here. SoFi is $30. And look at this. Look at this move here. Look at this move here. Looks like we are, in fact, breaking out here, right? 30.06. Boy, we are real close to a new all-time high here on SoFi. 13, do you have anything here on SoFi? Do you like this chart at all?
Let me look here. Geez, so you know how we've talked about and how I feel with things running into earnings, which they have tomorrow morning. That's
generally not great. We'd like to see the opposite, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it's trying to make a new all-time high. Absolutely. It looks like we're really trying to make that happen. I think September 22nd, that was the high of 3030. Is that higher than what we printed back in 2020? Yes, it is. Okay, so yes, all-time highs is what we'd be looking at there. It certainly is getting some support from the 50-day SMA. We traded all of October, getting support from there all through October. Looks like we're trying to come up around to take out 30 meaningfully, with the run beyond that to the upside. But I don't like that price action going into these earnings. I feel like there's going to be, maybe a pop initially on the earnings, and then it just starts selling off. That would be my thought on that, is that we probably see profit taking on the earnings print. Now, if let's say it's some massive guidance or something that absolutely blows expectations away, well, then it probably won't sell off. You might get some selling, but then it's just going to continue ripping. I would think that depending on the magnitude of how the earnings print looks determines just which direction you go. But most likely, I think you're going to see profit taking one way or the other.
Okay. Here's the one thing that I will say about SoFi here. Financials are about middle of the road this year in year-to-date performance, it looks like. And this is something that we share on the happy hour all the time. We love this interactive calendar. For any of you that haven't used this yet, I'll go ahead and drop it here as well. We use this calendar a lot to determine what sector is in favor in a particular year and how is that sector going to be in favor the next year. And you can just kind of estimate here that when a sector is near the end of the list in one year, a lot of the times the next year or the year after that, it's higher in the list. Some of these, not so much. I was just checking because financials is pretty much in the middle of the list year to date here. And it was actually the third best category in 2024. So I just wanted to see how that kind of stood up there. The one thing I will say here is about SoFi. You guys that have owned this for a long time, Izzy owns this at 4 in his retirement account. Lion says he's a long-term holder here in SoFi. For me, the buy here in SoFi was a long time ago. I wouldn't be playing it here for this earnings. Chart looks great, like it's going to pop here. Some of the fins have really been trading well recently. Goldman Sachs had a great day on Friday. Maybe we'll get some more carry through here, but I don't have my own angle here on SoFi. I do think this is going higher, but if you're looking to long term hold this, I think you can probably wait for a pullback. Otherwise, if you're already long this, Izzy, I think you did this right. Buy it when it was single digits.
Yeah.
Don't chase SoFi. Yeah.
The opportunity, like so many things, was back in April. And that was, if you, whatever you didn't catch in April, if you likely caught a lot of things, those are going to be those are the big winners. I mean, they've been the big winners for me. There should be the big winners for you. I don't think now is the greatest time. Maybe the earnings print, it really is that good. It takes it higher, but look at the run that we've been on since earlier this year. I mean, what is that low from April to the price that we're at now? This is a 239% rise off the April low.
Yeah,
I don't know that I want to buy up here.
That's what I'm saying. Day trader, you're long in the 6s. Izzy's long in the 4. Lion bought this when it was a startup. That's what I kind of, I'm with you there on SoFi. Here's the thing. I don't want you to chase SoFi because I like smoked tuna. I agree. It should come back to ground. Now, is it going to come back to single digits? I don't know. This does seem like this is going to be a pretty good business here. I just think you're going to have an opportunity to add it on pullback, not necessarily chase it. That's all.
There's a real hard case in my mind to be made for this thing to come back to single digits. It would have to be a big, financial collapse. Not just this company, but financial institutions around the world.
Yeah.
There's so much support for this now on the chart that it seems like the best case scenario for entry is going to be in the teens somewhere.
Okay. We'll see if this comes back in. SoFi looking pretty good. We'll see if this ends up moving higher here. Sorry, if you were looking for an actual buy spot, don't have it for you. Not a huge fan of chasing, if you will. Looks like DYN here. We didn't cover this. I know we're getting close to the open here. DYN, we didn't cover this. What do we have here? Stiefel keeps a buy rating, but that was from last week, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we have any other news here. Stock's up 36%. On some pretty light volume. It's up from about $17 to just $24. Let's see what we got in the short interest on this. 13.42% of the float charted with 7 days to cover. Some notable short interest on this name. Not a whole lot of volume here. A little bit thicker float. Let me know if any of you found anything on ticker DYN floating out there. I don't see any news on this.
I only see that Stifel, kept their buy rating on it, and that's it. They just kept their buy rating on this, and that's the only news that I see.
And Stiefel has a lot of ratings. I'm not sure what we can take away from that.
Right, and I'm just saying that's the only news that I see. Maybe there's something coming, and we just haven't got a press release on it yet either. Float on this is also 127 million shares. I don't know what's going to drive this.
And then you guys are also mentioning, I know there's some more folks wanting to take a look at NTLA. Let's see where we ended up on that. Yeah, this is still holding lower here by minus 46% now. Remember, on NTLA, bad news about one of its trials here. They're working with all of the regulators, but that's why this thing got really cut in half here today, frankly, just thereabouts. Maybe we get a dead cat bounce here. I don't feel great about that. I think that there's other stuff that we can probably trade that might be a little bit better than NTLA here today. What'd you have, 13? Sorry?
Wasn't there was a patient that was hospitalized?
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, literally in the not good. Exactly.
No,
not good at all.
Completely upend all the trials, and if that happens, then all the money you spent on those is just wasted. That's not great at all.
No, it really isn't. And then I guess we'll just check on this because I'm sure we're going to have more people here. Here's Beyond Meat. This looks like this is going to go lower here today, to be honest. Get ready for Beyond between 35 and 40 this week. I'll believe that when I see it. Call me skeptical on that one. I don't think so. And then DVLT. So Data Vault. So this is interesting, Lion, that you're bringing this up. So really quickly, I'm going to tie all this together. I know we're getting set to open here. Data Vault. This stock, this had a great day on Friday, not knocking it. Looks like we're going to have another good day here today, 360, a potential breakout spot. Data Vault here also might fit in that theme. This is data technology licensing that enables clients and strategic partners to monetize their blockchain, data, and AI web assets via tokenization. And then it also has an angle there for like verification and identification. This stock has a market cap of $973 million. We just took a look earlier. What was it? Was it Click? What was the one? I forgot.
You're okay. I want to remind you real quick. Remember, we briefly touched on this because this was causing another stock to move. It was last week. We traded at WGRX. They had partnered with this company, with Data Vault, for the exact reason you're about to go into, to enable blockchain and enabled prescription drug trafficking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to tie it all together and I did a poor job of doing that. Here's the reason I'm bringing all of this up. We've been talking recently on this show about IDAI being a really, really good player in this exact theme. And indeed, this thing is extremely thin by comparison here. This has a 10 million market cap. 10 million market cap. BKYI. Thank you, Josh. That was the one that we were talking about earlier, that BioKey. In something else very similar. The one I'm already long is IDAI. We talked about this down at 3. Worth noting, this thing is 425, 434 here in the pre-market. Let's see if IDAI gets any news coming up here. That could actually make for a pretty good trade. Okay, we're open, folks. Let's see how we do here.
All right, back to this. So we're getting BKYI with some movement. Looks like we're some support of the View app as initial here, but now we're losing it. Click, not really doing a whole lot at the moment. TGL falling lower. I think we kind of expected that. Wrecked. It's not doing anything.
Is it getting wrecked? I had to.
It's not doing it. I think you're a little bit early with that question. It's not doing anything yet, but I think eventually it might get wrecked. ASST, this is trying to move higher. Got resistance at 155. That's where it's headed right now. KIT, this looks like it's trying to get some support. Volume could be better.
Seeing some options come in here. Let's see how the rest of this is doing. Palantir, seeing some sweeps here on Palantir. Interesting action here for Palantir. This is obviously higher with the broader market, but it looks like it had a little bit of a pop and a drop there. We'll see what direction Palantir ends up going here today.
KIT heading lower. Buru's trying to get above some of these smaller EMAs.
That's the penny stock, right?
Yeah, ASST, this is starting to get a little bit more upside, looking for a 155 break. It's like Click dropped initially and then it rebounded. Still low volume. BKYI doing the same thing, also low volume, but now this is drifting lower. These are looking that great.
Yeah. I'm gonna let this opening print shake out here. Remember, we had a pretty big gap up on the back of that news. Some of this stuff pulling a little bit. 13. I'm gonna be right back. 1 sec.
All right. Just looking around here and seeing if there's anything that's looking interesting at all for its trade. A lot of these names we were looking at this morning are just either sinking lower or they're just doing a whole lot of nothing. They just don't have the volume. Wonder if we're just kind of seeing this market wait out the next series of earnings and the FOMC meeting decision here. ASST sold a few January 150 calls at 50 cents from 10 cents Friday. Nice. They're doing good. Take a look at Lumen. When he gets back, we will. Looks like getting a little bit more of a lower print from KIT, from BKYI, from Click, TGL trying to rebound. Not sure I would trust it. It looked like there's been a whole lot of action here. I mean, ASST kind of providing some of the best action out of the gate here, but even that isn't the greatest. Iron is support at 64. I'll look at Iron. When Ryan gets back, we'll have him pull some stuff up. Iron, well, it doesn't. I mean, right now it looks like it's trying to get that support at 64. It certainly is turning around after printing just beneath it. If it doesn't get support here, there is some more support down around 65.35. Right in there, like 65.35 to 65.30. That 5 cent range in there has some support, but it looks like we already got it because it is turning around and recapturing VWAP and making its way up towards its
which one?
We're looking at IREN right now, IREN.
Okay.
We just had a question if there was support at 64. It certainly looks like that's the case. Great mention there. We're just looking for a recapture of the 65 EMA next. It is coming up to some resistance at about 65.20. That was support turned resistance. That was support back from earlier in the pre-market. And then when we lost it, now it's going to be a bit of an area that could prove difficult to recapture. So certainly here we are. Now we're getting the selling happen. So right in that area, already getting some resistance. But there's your areas of support and resistance for now. 64, the 200 EMA just beneath it. And to the upside, you have the 65 EMA and that level at 65.25. So support.
Iron coming back in a little bit there.
Looks like some of these names are starting to turn around here.
EKYI coming back into the VWAP at 176.
Yeah, that's trying to recover. CLIK, this is down to its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Looks like it's about to lose it as well. TGL, this bounced off its 200 EMA, recaptured VWAP, but still has some supply above it in order to move through. That might be proved a little bit too difficult. Here we are losing or testing VWAP again.
REPL, this is one that we had traded recently here. This spiking out of the open here. Did this have news? One of you guys mentioned this here. Bob, looks like you were on this one. What happened with REPL here? Wainwright, $12 target.
Just sell covered calls for the short term for rare earth. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Those are all pulling back.
Yeah. You know, maybe if we get this actual news about a China deal, that might reignite some of them because minerals and rare earths are a part of that. But indeed, that looks like that entire theme on a bit of a pullback here.
Well, I thought that, wouldn't it be better for those names if they if the China deal didn't work out because they kind of were running on.
Well, yeah, like USAR here. This would this and MP really spiked because of that. I'm just thinking that with that out of the way, I think there will probably be other opportunities here in rare earth, even if it's a net negative for USAR.
ASST with a big turnaround here. This is trying to recapture VWAP.
Does anyone have any setups yet here today? You know what? ASST.
Iron, looks like you did get another move up towards that 65 EMA and rejected. Still not selling off, but we already had our levels out there. So this is kind of bouncing between the levels we looked at, providing some pretty good trading action.
Apple 266.66 as its high print on the spike out of the open there. Apple coming back in a little bit. Tenzin, if you're out there trading Apple, let me know. Palantir also ripping to the highs here right now. And ASST making it through that VWAP there.
Yep.
144 is what I had. That I've got 147 in my broker. And it looks like 151 is your high print.
Two things here with ASST. If you look at the candle out of the gate and the one just before this one, the 2 5-minute candles there, we've been getting rejected up at this 150 area. This has kind of been the top of the sideways price action we've got in the pre-market here. So we need to see some real big volume right here to get through this 150, 155 area that's been providing all this resistance. It needs to happen, right here with that big amount of volume coming in right now.
Okay, it's at 150 right now. There is huge size there.
Yeah. That's the size that needs to get taken out. We need that big volume in order to do it.
Yeah, Jay, this is a really good mention. Some of those names that are selling off like AMD and Micron, they're up 25% in a week. Be careful. WDC earnings are on Thursday. So this is one of those storage plays that looked like it was a little bit extended here. Earnings here on Thursday after market. Jay, some of the other ones that were connected to this were STX. When did they report? By the way, it looks like that 150 block is getting hit there on ASST. It's huge, though.
Yeah, and there's even bigger ones going all the way up to 155. Like I said, volume really needs to chew through this right now.
They took it. They took that 150
they're
spot
trying.
there. Yeah,
they're not through it yet, but they're trying.
Okay. So STX, this actually reports tomorrow after hours, Jay. I wonder if we'll learn something about WDC from the STX report. Let's also take a look at Micron real quick here. ASST continuing here. Looks like 154, your spot there. Here's Micron. When do we have earnings for Micron?
IREN just broke out. So this moved above
He's out for a while.
That resistance area we talked about it's continuing to climb into more of the consolidation from the pre-market. 67 is going to be your resistance area from here, I think.
Okay, good mention there on IREN. Really quick here, a SanDisk. This also reports earnings 10 days, so this is going to be next Thursday. So a lot of these storage coming up. STX leads it off here tomorrow after hours. Jay, this is a good mention. Let me know if you take trades on any of these names. Yeah, and you just reported. Sorry about that. Tenzin, good morning. Good to see you again. 5-minute candles stacking probably on Apple. I'll tell you what, just kind of looking at the Apple chart here, if this market continues at all here today, I think Apple probably tries to trade a little bit higher.
Look how much that resistance has grown, that supply has grown in ASST now at that 150 to 155 area. It's even bigger now. They're going to have to bring in a lot of volume to get through this.
Yeah, it actually looks like they refilled whatever was for sale there at 150. They're taking it again here, but man, to your point, there is a ton of stock for offer there at 150. Ondas looks like it's bouncing a little bit after the profit taking there, recapturing 8 on the back of its news.
I'm concerned that BKYI might have formed a bit of a double top, and we're going to get a resolution of that. But if we reverse here and we can take out 230, will invalidate that. So just something to watch here with BKYI. Floats, what was the float on this one? 1 second here. So float on this is 6.6 million. So not too big. I'm just have some concerns about the pattern here. Looks like support's going to be at about 165. But if we can turn around, like I said, and take out that 230, it's a bit of a tall order from right here. We're going to see a lot of volume to do that. But if it happens, we could make some higher prints into maybe even into the 3 handle.
BKYI, I have the VWAP at 177, both in the broker and in TradingView. So far, it looks like it's trying to bounce off of that. But to your point, it needs to continue this. If it loses it, lower we go here. Brian, mentioning the quantum names here. Are they back? Maybe setting up for some more? Yep. Rigetti here screaming out of the open, plus 41 now, or above 41 here. Rigetti up almost 6%.
Kit had a big move through VWAP when it turned around, and now there's a seller that's blocking it back down to 3. It had a big pop out of nowhere that took it up to
right to its VWAP.
Yeah. And now that seller is, walking it down, maybe, selling out of his position at the same time. Could be the area here where we start to see a turnaround if we can continue to close. As you said, that was your VWAP?
Yeah, 170.
Okay. Yeah, mine's 293.
Wait, so you're on Kit, right?
Yeah, Kit. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I was giving you, that's my mistake. I gave you the VWAP for BKYI. I've got the VWAP at 320.
Okay.
Let me see what it is in my broker here, 13.
It still looks like Kit's trying to turn around, though. We need to see a lot more volume because there's a lot of sellers in the way here, starting at 315. And it looks like they are apparent at every 5-cent increment on the way up here. We're walking down to the price right now. Sorry. And
I've got Kit's VWAP at 322 in my broker as well. Kate here, PD Kate mentioning Tesla. Tesla ripped out of the open. Sorry, I was looking for some. Here we go.
IREN higher. Sorry.
IREN went higher. Okay, so here's Tesla. Tesla ripped out of the open here, went right to like 447-ish, stopped just shy of it. PD Kate here saying be careful, might sell off from here. That actually would make for a decent trade if it comes back in. UMAC, indeed, Kit. This moving higher here. Here, I'll go to Kit.
Yep, Kit getting back up here now. It's looking like we're getting a little bit more volume, but I'm still pretty cautious on this. I'm going to be cautious on a lot of these, to be honest.
That was a nasty little pull there. Got bought back. God, easy for me to say. I got a case of the Mondays here today, 13.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I just don't know about a lot of these. The volume just doesn't look that great. I mean, some of these are really putting in some good moves, but it feels like they're just going to get sold right away as soon as they reach a certain level.
Yeah, and Jay Harris, you're asking me about AMD, just kind of piggybacking off of what 13 was saying. I know he's talking about movers here. AMD, though, this, again, higher here after the news. We pulled right out of the open, but we're really unable to get back above VWAP. 256.34 is our VWAP. If AMD is going to go higher here, we're going to want to recapture this VWAP pretty quickly. It's trying right now, but this would be your first step for a long side trade here. 260 would be my first upside level on a trade in AMD if it can recapture that VWAP. Let's see. It looks like it's trying right now. We'll see if it's got the strength to get above that. I'm not going to leave it on screen, but watch it. Let me know. BKYI, that's giving up its VWAP. Kit still moving here. This was a good mention, 13.
Oh, yeah. And so right now, 350, kind of the area that I'm anticipating for some resistance. And I think it's going to be like maybe 345 to 350. But if we can get through that, we're going to continue to get a pretty good resolution of what to me kind of looks like a bit of a bull flag here. So if this ends up resolving in the way I'm thinking it may, we'll get this move through 350. We'll start chewing through some of these other areas of supply and make our way up to 450. 436 is the high from the pre-market. So about there to so like let's say 345. I'm sorry. 435 to 450. That's kind of where I'd be looking at the next big area of resistance if we manage to get over 350.
Okay, Kit pulling back. AMD. Well, I'll tell you what, Jay Harris says, I'm going to take a put. Jay Harris, I hope you got filled there because AMD, it looked like it was trying to curl, try to get its back to the VWAP there, could not immediately. New intraday lows here. AMD, we'll see if 253 stops it here. AMD pulling back. Jay Harris, pretty good timing on that. Let me know if you did end up getting filled on that and what type of downside targets you have here on AMD. I'm assuming your trade is kind of a shorter term one, I would guess. 8 days. The next week we get AMD's earnings, by the way.
So this AMD opened, of course, to new all-time highs.
Yep.
And you know, we're filling a gap to the downside. Now that gap, if we're going to use the close from Friday, is going to be 252.92. So look for support in that area. Anne Marie says AMD just filled the gap. Literally.
Oh, perfect. I don't have it printing 252.92, but gosh, it was less than 50 cents away from that. Sure looks like it's moving for that gap, Phil. Good morning, Anne Marie.
Well, if we're, let's see here, hold on a second. So the low print is 253.40. The high print on Friday was 253.39. So if we're looking at the wicks, yes, that gap absolutely just filled, absolutely 100%. If we're looking at the closes, we still have a little more room to go down, but it could certainly reverse here because I've seen plenty of times where we didn't fill the gap to the closing prints. We just filled them to the highs and the lows, and that was enough for some of these traders to just say that's the gap fill, let's go. So we could certainly turn around here, but we also have that close from Friday at 252.92 that could potentially get hit as well.
Okay, good stuff there. Really quick, Ryan saying, what's up with all the Argentina stocks popping? Milei scored a historic win in Argentina's midterms. He ended up tightening his grip on Congress. That's why those stocks are moving there. Graph mentioning Soundhound, S-O-U-N, and also TTD, the trade desk. Here's Soundhound. Actually, this looks like it might be rolling for another $20 holler. We'll see if we get that here. You're also mentioning TTD. How did that do? And then also Netflix, by the way, that's beneath its 200-day. 1091, Netflix on the lows of the day. So the trade desk, higher than where it closed on Friday. This one's been tough, though. Trade desk. And how's Beeline doing post our interview here today? Beeline still holding higher here by about 10%. I was actually hoping we'd see a little bit more volume here on Beeline. We'll keep having Nick back, though. He's great, very generous with his time, and joining us on days where the company puts out news, all about that. We'll keep bringing him back.
Folks are mentioning CODX, Co-Diagnostics. This is actually approaching its 500-day SMA. Could see some resistance there. That value I have at 87 cents.
Is that CODX, Co-Diagnostics?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just making sure.
So we are coming up to a big resistance area. Last time the price even interacted with this was back in August last year, over a year now.
Looking around here. Hello, little kitten. Palo Alto higher. Apple looking like that's going to go higher here, Tenzin. Ethereum looks like that's going higher. Bitcoin did pull off of its morning high, but that's bouncing as we speak as well.
Yeah, none of this stuff that we were looking at this morning is looking great. TGL, the junky one, this is trying to defend the 200 EMA, but the volume's so low that I just feel like eventually this is going to fail too. None of these are looking really spectacular right now.
Yeah, I don't see anything here great from the movers chart. This B-Bio, by the way, BBIO, Bridge Bio, shares are trading higher if the company announced all primary and secondary interim analysis endpoints in the 4 to 5 phase 3 study were successfully achieved. So good data here, as opposed to NTLA, which really kind of got hit. BBIO, this is higher by 14%, up nearly $8. Let me really quickly check NTLA. We were down about 45% in the pre-market, still holding down here by about 42.5%. NTLA looks like there was a little bit of a bounce there, very, very short-lived. I would wait this thing out. I would not be quick on the draw with NTLA.
ASST, if there's going to be anything that's going to happen here, it's going to have to happen pretty soon. It's really close to a breakout level, still trading above. I mean, it's above my VWAP. I have that at 146. But it seems like volume's really starting to wane pretty badly out of this company. So unless we get a spike in volume or a big old push that takes us over 155, this is probably going to come back in here in a second. B-Bio, by the way, this is looking like this is going to trade up towards the all-time highs. That's going to be up around $73. $73, $74. Mm-hmm. Got a little bit of supply to get through at about 65, though. This has earnings in 2 days. Let me look at their cash because, successful phase 3 study typically means that, trying to bring this to market is going to be next. Wow, this thing chews through cash. Fortunately, it's got a lot of it. So this has almost $750 million. It loses, anywhere between 165 to 265 million every quarter. So big biotech company there apparently has a short interest of 15.4%, 8 days to cover. This, could potentially short squeeze. If it, it's already kind of doing that right now. How much shares in the float here? 112 million. Not the smallest float.
Really quickly, 13 Beyond Meat turned around at $2, so maybe it's trading back up towards that $30 and $94 price target given by some chatters. That's said tongue-in-cheek, by the way. BYND did turn around here. So far, it looks like it held 2.
Yeah, B-Bio is something that you're interested in. Certainly, keep it, keep your ear to the ground when it comes to their earnings. See what they have to say in there going forward, especially with this drug or whatever this phase 3 was for. Molecule BBP-418.
ASST still struggling with that 150 area. We got a bunch of wicks, literally wicked right up at that area. 150 still the key spot. It does look like the NASDAQ is trying to turn around, so maybe AMD, we can watch that one. Also saw that there was a bunch of these other stock. Look at Palantir. Palantir continuing to trade higher here. Someone asked earlier about PLTZ, so I still have the little bit that I nibbled on that I'm now down over a full point on. I only have a couple of hundred shares on it, though, so it's really not that terrible.
BKYI, Click, and TGL are trying to turn around.
As far as adding to the Palantir short, I want to feel like it's stalling out here. Palantir, to me, looks like it's got all kinds of strength here today. We'll see what it does with the regular market. See if it slows down here today, maybe scale in a little bit more there. But I mean, if we're full on breakout in tech and the rest of the market, I got to imagine Palantir is going to go with it.
Kathy mentioning Oost.
There's another one of those AI plays. Oost, this is I'll tell you what, when we first started the show way back in the days of Money Mitch, Oost was one that we took a look at all the time. I think this thing was like 10, 12 bucks. Here we are, it looks like 40 now on Oost. This thing has been a massive, massive winner. Grats to anyone that's traded this over the long term. This is what I mean.
$40 now.
And this was actually, man, I'll tell you what, this is actually a quadruple from the April lows. Who's just a huge move here. Palantir call wall is 90. You know, Anne-Marie, I almost, if it holds above 190, I'm almost wondering where that next level above is going to rotate to. Would think 200 is probably next. Lion thinks it's going to 220.
$50 looks like that's the next big resistance area for OUST. Going back to February and January of 2022, and certainly looks like some of those names I mentioned, like BKYI, that's trying to turn around here. It's going to have a lot of work ahead of it to choose
right at the VWAP.
Yeah, Click also trying to turn around as well. TGL still trying to get over its VWAP. Don't know about that one. Rect is just sideways right now. Every time it pops over the VWAP, it just gets wrecked and goes further lower. IREN, this is still kind of hanging out up here, trying to push higher. ASST couldn't get above that 150. Lower it went. It's not a whole lot of.
No, I was going to say, I don't see a whole lot. By the way, Amazon, nice little dip out of the open. Amazon was higher in the pre-market, dipped a little bit out of the open, pretty much coming right back to where it opened here on Amazon. Let me know what the trade plan is there, Izzy, on Amazon. I think that you're swinging this. 210 would be the measured move for Palantir off the last congestion level, but I suspect it fades up there at 210.
BKYI still climbing higher. Just a little bit nervous about this move that it's getting. And it's really like making a struggling effort to get up to these levels, and I just feel like it's going to just get slapped right down here. But you know, that might not happen. We'll see.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't have a position in this one. I was watching it right there at the VWAP. It moved through it, but not in a hurry on that one.
Whoa, what's going on with Rigetti?
The quantum names?
Yeah, all of a sudden that just got a big spike in buying volume.
Okay, let me take a look at RGTZ. Someone in the chat earlier said RGTZ getting affordable again. That currently at $13. Am I crazy for saying Rigetti has room up to 43.5 today? That would be the high from Friday.
I don't think that'd be crazy, but because remember I've said, you know, and I said it in the chat a lot here. Rigetti's looks like this is going to hit this 20-day SMA several, more than once. And so far it's done it twice. Wouldn't surprise me if we did it again today, maybe even tomorrow. But I don't think we're going to see closes over it. I think this is still going to go lower, but I think we're going to try to recapture that 20-day SMA in the process to no avail. That's kind of what I'm just thinking here with RGTI. We're going to get that. We're going to try and recapture the 20-day SMA. It's not going to work. We're going to go back
down. Get ready for this, folks. Ticker pump. This is up 17%. This is basically right where it opened. They have earnings in 2 days before market opens. Rigetti spaghetti, indeed. I'll tell you what, I am interested. If Rigetti continues to trade higher here, I'm interested in trying a new short via RGTZ again. That trade worked last time, even with me selling it too early. If this keeps pushing here, we'll take a look at that.
Some of these names are starting
Good morning, Crow.
Curl back up. Morning, Crow. BKYI still trying to come back up. Click doing the same thing. TGL just had a big move back up to the open. This is starting to get volume. So here we go with this junky name getting pushed around. This could go on a big run, and then it's going to come right back in.
Remember, this thing has made 2 tests at the VWAP already here in pre-market. Both of those tests have failed. It's approaching it now. We want to see that get above. Crow, yeah, we good to see you on the pennies there. Buru and Codex seem to be your 2 pennies here today that folks are on. I guess TGL, that was a penny stock prior to this pop. Crow, what are we thinking for the baseball game tonight? What are we thinking for the Blue Jays tonight? You'll have to let me know.
Okay, BKYI. Now it's coming back down.
Yeah, none of these movers feel great to me.
TGL is gonna be the one that's gonna probably go on some kind of short run and then just trap a whole bunch of people. So be careful with TGL if you're trading it. Don't see anything that we were keeping an eye on this morning that's really got anything going on.
Go Jays go. Canada needs a win. Look, growing up a Cubs fan, I absolutely cannot stand the Dodgers. I just cannot stand the Dodgers. So I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the Blue Jays. Let's go Blue Jays.
Beyond Meat is not done. Okay. I mean, it's certainly going to be a great trading vehicle. I just don't think it's going to fundamentally measure up to the levels y'all are looking for.
To be fair to Beyond Meat, I haven't seen any of the crazy levels posted today.
I heard 30, somewhere in the 30s.
Was that from today? Because I was citing older levels, and I might just be wrong.
If you were citing older levels, then never mind. I thought that was what actual calls for were today, is to see this in the 30s, or this week, I mean.
JJ wants to know, what time does 13 usually come in? Did he join early today? You did join a little bit early today, didn't you?
Maybe by a minute or two.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally 13 is available at 8:45 a.m. Mm-hmm. He normally waits for me to finish up the news. On Thursday, he waits for the end of the futures forward segment. But normally it's 8:45 a.m. Eastern every day, give or take a few minutes. He's very courteous to our guests like Tim, who sometimes is on till 9.
Real easy. If there's no guest, there's no, nothing coming on, like, we don't have Mark, we don't have Tim or anything like that, it's going to be 8:45. I'll be here.
There you go. From the man himself. DVLT, how's that doing, Kathy? I want to see that whole segment go, honestly. I really want to see that whole segment go. IDAI
TGL
up even more today. Let's go.
TGL is pushing here. Remember, this is be careful with this if you're trading it.
114 is that first spot to watch there.
Just be careful.
Bitcoin, so that bounce did stop at about 115,500. We'll see if Bitcoin has any more strength there. Ethereum moved with it. That ETHA, that ETF that I've been trading, that's at 31.56. Still think that those 40 calls for December are possible. We need a huge run in Ethereum for that. Rocket actually taking a dip. I wonder what some of the other housing stocks are doing. Let's take a look at BLNE too. They're still holding higher here by 5%.
That would be fun, Jane, to be honest.
Look, I would absolutely love to be able to announce sports. I mean, that would be a dream come true. Dream come true.
It's nice to see some movement out of these movers that we were looking at this morning. It's just
Look at Qualcomm. What's going on with Qualcomm? You guys, who mentioned this? Tennis, thank you. Qualcomm here. They say that the AI 200 and AI 250 solutions driver rack scale performance and superior memory capacity for fast data center generative AI inference at industry-leading total cost of ownership. So getting some news here, good positive news on the scaling their server racks. QCOM up by 4%. This is a nice pump. 7+ point move here on volume for Qualcomm. We're actually right at a resistance area here on Qualcomm. Yeah, this is a pretty 13, you have to let me know what you think about this Qualcomm daily chart. I have pretty significant resistance up here to about 180. And I would say that the next level is probably 195 after this. Qualcomm, 5% on that move. That was a good mention.
Yeah,
real good mention in that Qualcomm news.
There's several things I'm going to have to look at here with this one. I still own some of this. Remember, I talked about how I own this, or I picked a lot of it up back in October of 2023, and this went on this massive run. And I cut my position down in the 200s on this rally. Haven't done anything with the remaining shares since. Just kind of let them do their own thing. But I think you're right about this this 180 spot having some significant resistance. You can look to the left here. This goes back to 2021 and 22, the end of and beginning of those years. There's some consolidation, some supply up in there as well. So I would think that, yeah, from 180 to about 195, looks like there's going to be good areas of resistance.
Indeed. And looks like actually QCOM, this pretty much went right towards that 180. Here we go. We're going to have a 180 test coming here. We'll see if it takes that out. Real quick here, Black Star Card House says, question, please. How do I get my scanner colors coded like you've got yours? Well, obviously, this is specific to Benzinga Pro. The only color coding that I've got here is one column. This column, percent relative volume, this is automatically color coded. So the name of this column, again, percent relative volume 60-day. And it's basically telling you how much of the average volume has this stock traded already. What I'm looking at, notably here, several of these stocks have already traded several hundred or 1,000% their average volume at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that just tells me that there's something going on here. The other color coding that's going on is on each market tick, the price is updating. You get that simply by setting your scanner to the real-time refresh rate. So again, the only other column that I have here is for percent relative volume. But you know what? 13, do you have anything at the moment? QCOM, by the way, through 180. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. So real quick here, I had a discussion with a Benzinga Pro customer last week. And he was bringing up some really good points. And he was asking about trying to search for volume surges using his scanner. And I was suggesting some of the things that I suggest regularly, including the relative volume that I use right here. But one of the things that he wanted to see is he wanted the scan to automatically put the highest volume traders at the top so that he didn't necessarily have to search for them in the list. Now, I thought about that. I was like, actually, that's a pretty good idea. Generally, I just click on all of them. I try to look through the list. But I think what I might do here, folks, I might actually change my scan around a little bit. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a column here, and I'm going to look for volume, and I'm going to look for the one that says volume and in parentheses 1M. This represents how many raw shares of volume are trading in the recent rolling 1-minute window. So let me go ahead and add this to my scanner. Okay, we're not adding a filter. We're just adding a column of data. And now I want to move this here. Oops, I got to click on the right thing, Ryan, you big dummy. Come on. All right, I'm going to move this volume to right next to percent relative volume. Oh, there we go. There we go. And now I'm going to sort my column on this list. Okay, so now what I've got here is I have my order of stocks appearing on this list are going to be the ones that are trading the highest volume. We'll see if this helps us identify moves as they're happening. By the way, while I was giving that little speech there, Qualcomm 183, is this continuing to move through that? Wow.
Yep, 180 to that 195 area, that whole area, somewhere in there, I think we're gonna see some resistance. We're in it now. Rigetti pulling back though, so pretty good opportunity to pick up some RGTZ if you were looking to trade this thing.
It did give you, it looks like that RGTZ has bounced almost a full point here. Let me update my recent layout here since I made that change, because I don't want to forget about that. I do want to see if this ends up helping. That came right from our community, by the way. Let me try refreshing Pro here real fast. Palantir looks like it stopped there about 192. Let me go back to my main workspace here.
ASST back up here, trying this 150 to 155 area again.
Real quick, just got to hand this out. Tennis is life. You're going to get a register ring on that Qualcomm news drop that you gave us here. Forced us to look at that. When Tennis gave that to us, QCOM was 177. This is almost 10 points higher, almost 10 full points higher from Tennis's alert in chat. Yeah. You're all welcome is right. Register ring there on QCOM if you traded that. Really good piece of news. By the way, I'm sure that was squawked. I don't have the squawk on right now because I'm paying attention to the show. I'm sure that was squawked. Yep, sure was.
We're getting some pretty good turnaround price action. What's up?
I'm sorry, 13. Really quickly on this Qualcomm trade, Tennis did a good job alerting the chat. But folks, if you had the Benzinga Pro squawk on, you were probably able to grab even more than 10 points of that move. The squawk was all over this one here early. 13, I'm sorry for interrupting, but good Lord, that was a good opportunity there.
The names we were looking at as the movers this morning are starting to curl up. BKYI, this is getting some pretty good support from its 65 EMA. Still needs to recapture its VWAP, but it looks like this is going a little bit sideways right now. Look for a recapture of that VWAP. That should be able to start taking us up towards 2 again. Click. This had a nice move over its VWAP and the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart. Now we're back testing both of those indicators right now as support. We'll see if that holds up. If it does, we're going to want to see a move up towards 11 and a recapture of the 65 EMA. And then TGL, this broke through a trend line, a downtrend line that if you look at the pre-market price action in the after hours, you can pretty much draw a trend into, use the pre-market. There you go. So we broke out of that, looking for a back test of this trend line. And if we get that support, we could see 120, maybe even more. So we'll see if we end up getting that with TGL, but still want to point out, be careful with TGL. As many past candles have shown, this has the propensity to trade up to a new high and then just spend the rest of the day selling off. So make sure you're not sticking around for that.
Okay, and TGL literally as we're speaking rejected at the VWAP. Folks, this is great stuff here. Real quick, Tennis caught 13 points on that QCOM move. When it moves that big, that fast, that's absolutely possible. Yassine, thank you for checking on that. Yassine's got the squawk rolling already. Charles called that at 171. 171 was Charles Squawk on QCOM. Yassine, big time gains right there. Izzy hit this for 6 points. Let's go. Bang, bang, Ryan. Let's go, Yassine. Absolutely fired up. Squawk giving you a win. I'll tell you what. Squawk was the reason why, before I even worked here, Squawk was the reason that I picked Benzinga Pro over all of the other news wires that I was trialing. Squawk, for me, I had one trade very, very early on where I looked at when the trade was done.
Over 190.
Which one? QCOM?
It's over 190 now. Approaching 195 resistance.
Real quick. My first trade, not my first trade, but one of my first trades directly off Squawk. I think I made like $720 total, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I literally just almost paid for the entire subscription in one trade, and I realized right then how valuable Squawk was going to be. This is the type of stuff that you can hit from this. This is the type of stuff that you can hit from this. Really good stuff here on Qualcomm. Congrats to the group.
ASST.
I'm going to have to start playing this now.
ASST, if we get the volume expansion here, we're going to put in some new highs.
And this volume sort here on the 1 minute, this is working. A lot of these tickers that are starting to make moves are going to be at the top of the list now. ASST, big volume here.
Yeah, it's got a lot of shares to chew through from right here to get through 155. But if we get that volume, this thing could take off.
Tennis says, please play Squawk in the background. I can't. It's one of the things that you're actually not allowed to rebroadcast that. That is one of the big drivers of subscriptions for Benzinga Pro. I cannot give away what Charlie's doing here in the background. I'm sorry.
ASST, it just moved through 155, not with great volume, but it took out a big seller in the way there. Let's see if this gets going. But man, I wanted to see some better volume through that 155 area. Don't know how much we're going to get out of this, but this is looking pretty decent right now.
Not bad.
Nope,
not bad. Tons of volume in the last minute here, nearly 10 million shares. Starting
to expand now, but we need to see a little bit better than this if we're going to go a whole lot higher. But looking pretty decent. But that was actually a great move through 155. If I'm being honest. But
yeah, it was. And I like this. I like this idea from our pro customers here. Qualcomm still trading a ton, 192. That is still pounding the high.
Nice. Yep. Almost to that the top part of that consolidation at 195.
Okay. ASST 160 here. 161 is your standard deviation away from the VWAP that I have in Thinkorswim.
A little bit of a pull here.
Smoke Tuna saying today is not the day to buy the tops of these moves. I completely concur. You have to be adding on support or you're going to be in big trouble. Frozen King, is that Felicia? Benzinga Squawk is not working on my pro account. There's a couple of things that we can do. If you have a VPN, that might be stopping it. We'll have to take a look sometime. I won't be able to diagnose that here on stream, but definitely give that a shot. I'm sure we can fix it.
CODX, this is losing its VWAP. MACD is indicating the momentum swinging to the downside. Be careful with CODX if you're trading this thing. It looks like it's been topping out for the past half hour, and now we're starting to get a resolution that's going to take it down to, it looks like about 65 cents. Looks to be the support area. So waiting for BKYI to make some kind of meaningful move out of this sideways consolidation it's been in for the past half hour. Still trading beneath its VWAP, but still holding the 65 EMA. Click kind of being sideways as well. Now trading beneath its 200 EMA. TGL didn't quite get a back test of that trend line yet, but it's still looking like it's trying to move higher. Not liking these upper shadows it's been putting in here. Again, be careful with TGL.
Really needs to get above that VWAP to show any type of more strength to the upside. Hood, by the way, oh my gosh, Hood, 149, and then backed off that spot. This actually got an outperform from CICC, price target of 155 on Hood.
So it looks like QCOM right up to the 195, kind of back and forth there, but didn't stick around for longer because it's going higher.
My gosh, what a mention this was. QCOM, the trade of the day here, folks.
200 next resistance.
Bharat shorted AMD on the QCOM news. AMD, we already had a gentleman short that. That actually already kind of flashed a short setup. The pull out of the open and bounce and inability to reclaim the VWAP gave the short entry. Lower we go here. Jay Harris, how are you doing today? Great entry on the AMD puts earlier, called live in the chat there. Tell you what, it's the big names that are giving us the moves here today, not the little movers. How about that? AMD and QCOM, these are probably the two best trades of the day. And then, guys, real quick, guys and gals, excuse me. When you're talking about the Squawk, when you hit the play button, it's not going to constantly be audio. All right. So like right now, mine says connected, waiting for audio. That means I've made a successful connection to the Squawk server and I'm waiting for news to be read. You're only going to get news when there's something going on. Right now, I don't hear anything. There's no news being read. I'll leave this on. I'll see if you guys can hear it the next time we get a Squawk. I'll test it here for you, but I can't leave it on indefinitely. 13, I'm sorry.
Doesn't look like ASST is finished yet. As long as the volume continues to hold up here, we're going to see some higher prints. Looking like we're 160. We're trying to get through that right now. Every 5 cents, there's going to be a seller in the way here.
Yeah.
And looks like we are going to get that even up beyond the 176 pre-market high. New highs now. Trying to take 160.
ASST, that volume is still holding higher here, by the way.
Okay.
And then one more thing on the Squawk. Any of you that have Squawk, if you open up a calendar, and my suggestion to every one of you out there that doesn't already use the calendar, create a new workspace, just add the calendar to it and leave it like that, because you will check these calendars when you get used to it at some point. I leave one of my workspaces just a calendar so I can do this. If you click on the drop down at the top and you select Squawk, it will actually give you a transcription history. So I can tell you that the last Squawk was in fact on QCOM at 9:17 a.m. This was 2 minutes ago. This was your last Squawk right here.
QCOM ran up to 202.76 and then backed off. Now it's back under 200.
AMD continuing to press lows there. What a call on the AMD put. And Bharat, great job shorting more AMD off the QCOM news. Really good stuff here from our group. Again, you guys, were you guys waiting over the weekend for the market to open? Because sometimes as traders, we're in the minority where we're sitting there on the weekend like, I cannot wait for the market to be open again. Can I please go back to work? Not something you hear in every other industry, that's for sure. ASST, by the way, 162.13. That was a good call.
UBS memo shows bank has
you guys hear
filed
that?
for application
I hear
for
that,
national bank charter for UBS Bank USA.
Okay, UBS Bank Squawk right there. So if you didn't hear that on your own machine, maybe you do have something blocking it. I can confirm that this is working.
That's
here.
Uniform Bravo Sandy.
Uniform Bravo Sandy. Thank you, Charlie.
242 for AMD. Looks like that could be the support area today. We'll see what ends up happening if it comes back down there. Okay.
Jay, I love the thinking ahead here. Qualcomm was a laggard. Intel was a laggard. Is MRVL next?
You know what? I think we have a list for some of those. By the way,
Look, Jay, I'm sorry, I love that thought. Go get it.
Rect continues to go lower. It's halted to the downside now.
That's RECT, right?
Yep. And ASST.
Oh my God! Look how ugly this is. 13. Are you kidding me?
Hey, it's all in the name, right?
That's true. Very good.
All in the name.
Very good. 13.
Now ASST, this is starting to put in a little bit of a troubling candle right now. So be careful with this one. This might be turning around here after it hit 165. So we could see some selling that takes it back down underneath 155, maybe a little bit lower. But it looks like it is trying to turn around here and go south. So be careful there. Now, semi names that have been beaten up. We had Qualcomm, we had Intel. Jay mentioned Marvell. What are some other ones? What are some other big names that haven't been doing as well? Wow, it's crazy to see Qualcomm with a candle like this.
Yeah, it sure is. Really quickly here, Chris is saying in the chat, Charles Gross is the GOAT. Facts. 100% factually accurate comment here. Chewbacca agrees with Chris. Look, Charles has been doing this for over 2 decades. Charles has his own proprietary news sources. Charles knows exactly what makes good news. There is nobody that you would rather have reading you breaking news than Charles Gross. Chris is spot on with this comment here. Big time shout out to Charlie.
So I know that they're more on the analog and legacy side of chips, but maybe we could also throw in TXN. I'm just trying to look around at some of the semi names that
haven't gone crazy, that
have been kind of beaten up, because it's a really great idea. And I want to just kind of look around at for some of these other names of some good companies, not the speculative ones, but some good companies that have, are in the same situation. And looks like TXN since July has just been in a downtrend. So could be another one there. ASST, yep, that pulled us right down to under 160. As a matter of fact, we got down to 158, trying to get some support there. But yeah, not a great reversal. So anyway, I'm just going to look at around for some of these other potential
Here.
names.
So here's what I've done. I've basically
Okay.
gone into the scanner and I've scanned it by industry for semiconductors and semiconductor equipment.
Okay.
What did we want to do here, 13? We want to find out year to date, maybe?
You know what? See if we have a way of looking for ones that are at their 52-week lows, right?
No, not here. I'm thinking though what we should do is probably start with the year to date chart here on those that are down the most, right? So this is kind of what I'm thinking here. Just kind of looking at this. We got this pinned. So here are going to be some of your semiconductor names that are down the most year to date. SQNS, BZAI, Atom, ATOM, ICO. And just run through all of these charts here. Max N. I mean, a lot of these look really, really crappy, to be honest with you. We probably want to also add another filter here to remove some of the junk.
Yes. So change the market cap to, gosh, I don't know. Do you want to just maybe I feel if we do like 500 million, that might be a good start, but I feel like that might be, might be a little, well, maybe not. Let's see what we get with 500 million.
Okay, so that did take out some of these. SQNS still at the top of the list. N-Phase still on there. N-Phase more in the solar. Hey, look at this. Marvell appearing on our list.
Maybe more along the lines of 10 billion then. Maybe 500 million is way too low.
Yeah, that's an easy change. Here's 10 billion. Marvell on the top of the list now. ON on the top of the list now.
TXN, there we go. TXN up there. GFS.
TXN up
Perfect.
there.
GFS. So, that one might be the one to look at.
So here's your list then, folks. NXPI also on here. If any of you want this, you can just screen cap this right now. I'll leave this on the screen for you to screen cap this list. If you don't have Pro, maybe your scanner doesn't have the ability to do this. If you want to just kind of follow along to what I've done here, here it is. I've scanned for just semis and just a market cap of minimum of 10 billion. Here's your list.
ASST back up to hitting the 165 level again. There's a fight there between the bulls and the bears. It looks like, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Bulls are trying to push this thing higher. Bears are really trying to. I don't think the bears are going to win this one. It looks like the supply is getting chewed up here at 165. We'll see, but there's a fight going on there right now at ASST. But GFS, the chart for this one looks like this could be another one to keep a real close eye on.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at that daily chart.
I screen capped this. I screen capped this list and I sent it to myself. So I know we kind of just threw this together here to just on the fly. But if we need to come back to this list, that was a really good idea. 13, thanks for walking with me on that. There you go. That just gives you an idea of how you can use Pro to find some of these.
It started with Jay, but no problem.
Well, that's I'm saying. Started in our community here. That's what we do. John, thanks for becoming a member here. Welcome to Zinger Nation. Ryan, what was the news on the UBS move? Let me go back to that. Sorry, I read it out right when Charlie said it, but then I immediately got distracted by what I was doing. Let me grab that here for you. UBS says the bank has filed an application for a national bank charter for UBS Bank. STEP is part of a long-term goal to build on UBS's status as a premier global wealth manager in the U.S. and invest in areas that will drive growth. The bank anticipates approval in 2026, subject to regulators' discretion, and if granted, UBS would be the first Swiss bank to obtain a national bank charter in the U.S. And if we go to the calendar real quick and I click on Squawk, here's exactly what Charles said when he read that. Watching shares of UBS, company said to be in talks to refund. Wait, is that from today? No, that was back from May. Excuse me. UBS memo shows the bank has filed for application for national bank charter in the U.S. So this is indeed moving on the U.S. bank charter there. Sorry for reading the old Squawk. I got lost there in the dates. That's your news there, though, Tenzin. Look at Beyond Meat. That went lower. That went That tried to curl, rejected, probably sucked some people in, and is now flushing them on the backside. I just hope nobody got hurt on Beyond Meat. ASST, by the way, is continuing 163. Looks like I've got a high print of 165.
Yeah, it's still, we're still trying to get through that 165 seller. There was a lot more support a moment ago, but now it seems like there's a lot more supply that's been stacked on top of that. So we just need to see a lot of volume if we're going to push higher. We still could, but it's a tall order.
And real quick here, producer, I absolutely love this. I think that this is a great idea. And folks, I know sometimes we cover things quickly here. Producer, his idea here is going to make this a lot easier. We will post those filter settings that we just went through on that scanner for the semiconductors on the Benzinga Pro X account later. Be sure to give us a follow. Anytime we do some of these where you folks ask me questions about how to use Pro for something specific that we clip into or that we make into a clip here, I'll post them on the X account so that you can refer to them at later dates. Obviously, we just scanned today for a list of semiconductors, so maybe that'll be stale in a month, but at minimum, the process will be there. So be sure to follow our X account. I'll keep trying to do that. I'll keep trying to post helpful content to that. That's a good, really good idea there, producer. Really good idea.
BKYI lost at 65 EMA. This thing is going to probably end up coming down to 125 next.
Sorry, go ahead.
We do have TGL that back tested that trend line and trying to recover now. So, if you're feeling bold and you want to trade, TGL might be the one for you.
It was rejected at VWAP, but it did back test the trend line. I'm telling you what, that actually looks pretty good, but right. I still have the same concern. 13. It's really got to get above that. And then Wiss here mentioning BLNE. We just spoke to Nick, the CEO and founder, earlier today. Wiss here saying all this needs is volume. Indeed, this chart actually looks pretty good. Pop above 380 might send it here. That's ticker BLNE. Actually had a recent volume spike.
Blockchain home equity platform, huh?
Yeah, you're interested in some of the housing stocks. 13. When you get a sec later today, the interview wasn't even really 10 minutes. It's fairly short. You should check that out. I'll give you a link when we get that.
Okay, thank you. Price action is not looking too bad here on the daily chart.
No, it isn't.
So you got the loss of that 200-day SMA that took it down to the 50-day SMA again, where it's getting support from the 50-day SMA again, as it did in August. We've recaptured the 20. We've recaptured the 200 and the 20. Now we're trading above all those. Looks to me like it's going to be a question of what happens at like 4 to 410. That's the resistance area that I see from here for Beeline. What's going to happen at $4 to like 410? Are we going to trade higher? Are we going to get through it? It's a big resistance area. It goes back to November of last year. Already rejected once this year in September. Spent a good portion of the month trying to get back into that area. It was rejected. So if we hold up here and we make another visit up to that area with some more volume, might be able to push through it and take us up to 5. But that would be the concern I have right now. What happens at 4 to 410?
Okay. Good stuff there. KDP, Keurig Dr. Pepper. This is actually flirting with its VWAP right now. I've got the VWAP right here at $29. This has news here today. Keurig Dr. Pepper shares are trading higher after the company raised its full year 2025 constant currency net sales growth outlook to the high single-digit range and maintained adjusted diluted EPS growth in the high single-digit range. So this getting pretty good news here. KDP, we'll see if this can move through 29. That's right where the VWAP is. 13's mentioning click.
Yeah. Sorry to
You're
burst
good.
that out there, but it's getting a bit of a turnaround here. We're back up to a resistance area at 1020. The volume's pretty low, but it's getting the moves that are it's taking it back up to the 65 EMA. Might find some resistance around 1075 before we get to that 65 EMA, but this was cycling through the movers, and this one started to get going here. So I thought it was worth a mention.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go back to KDP here because it actually looks like this is starting to move through the VWAP here, KDP. We have a pretty decent range, maybe up to $30 for a potential trade here, KDP.
Shady way to add, I think it's VRME for identity verification. I think that's for identity tracking. It's mostly, I think, for tracking shipping containers. But if it's in that overall theme of identity verification, if you want to add that one to your list.
Okay.
Let me double check and make sure it's the correct one I'm thinking of. VRME should be Verify Me. Yes,
it is. VRME is indeed Verify Me. Actually, I think someone from the chat was talking. I know we've talked about that on Happy Hour, but I think someone from the chat was on that too. Maybe it was 3D from last week. Someone mentioned that. KDP here, this is working through the VWAP.
Okay, big pull here in ASST. So couldn't get through that 165 area. CODX trying to push back up towards the 80 cent area where it was topping out at earlier. TGL, still low volume, but it'd be quite humorous if this does end up resolving to the upside after back testing the trend line. It'd be really nice to see something, behave with the technicals, but man, I hate it when it's a junky stock like this.
Data Vault 377. This made some new intraday highs there. Earth UFO. I'll shout this out all the time. We're going to give you a register ring. Took my money and ran for now on ASST.
Nice.
Great call on being careful. Look,
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, we will try and share anything that we've learned about some of these stocks with you folks. We're not always going to be right, but if just one time we end up protecting, look at this thing knifed all the way back. Glad you're able to get out of there with a gain. That stuff adds up.
Yep.
Stuff adds up for sure.
Cautious move, best move. 20 plus price targets for VERI.
That's very.
That's Veritone, and I think this is something different. Let me see here. I remember looking at this and just let me read.
And then you're right, Jay. KDP Starboard got involved on that. Starboard, excuse me. That's KDP. So activist investor there. That was fairly recent. Good mention there.
Yeah,
nice little move through VWAP there, KDP. Palantir looks like that's going to try and go higher. Where's Palantir Queen from earlier? It must have been really a kind of just a good year in general for anyone long Palantir. But look at this. Another move higher here. New all-time highs. Palantir to 200, I think, is on its way right now.
Ain't no problem, Shady.
Crow, a 10% a day keeps the day job away.
Yeah.
Oh, Crow, man. We miss those one-liners around here on a daily basis, bro.
Yeah, see, I don't know that Veritone is necessarily an identity verification play. There's certain accessibility. It's an accessibility play of some kind. I'd have to look some more into this, but I don't think it's necessarily for identity verification, although it might have somewhat of an angle to that. Let me look into this more, but I think I looked at Veritone once. And I don't think this is the one I was thinking was as good as some of the other identity verification stocks we're looking at. Marvell is booming, says Izzy.
So is DVLT.
Oh, wow. Wow. DVLT. Hell yes. We just had news on the partnership with WGRX. How's WGRX doing now? That's down to 9%. Never mind.
It's all good. All good. Marvell, this is at the highs here, 88. Or right near 88. That was a really good mention earlier.
And I mean, be wild if it happens too. But GFS, I mean, It really does look like it's starting to turn around on the daily chart. One thing that has to happen here is we need to get a meaningful move through this 200-day SMA. Big money is made by waiting, the sitting and the waiting. All right, so let's look at these movers. See what they're doing. BK.
Bitcoin still looks like it's doing all right. Here's Netflix, by the way. I think I briefly mentioned Netflix earlier, but never really went back to it. Here's what your Netflix chart looks like today. Remember, a recapture of the 200-day is something that we're kind of waiting for on Netflix. Let me give you the chart for that. Lulu, by the way, 185. That's still a pretty good move. Here's your Netflix chart. What we'd be watching for here for an entry is a recapture of this 200-day. Honestly, this candle, the way it's forming here today, this doesn't look bad at all. Maybe it recaptures here today or tomorrow, but keep Netflix on your watch list. If you wanted to front run this and you are just very bullish Netflix in general, maybe sub 1100 is the move here. Personally, just in a more conservative way of executing this swing trade, I would wait for a recapture and a close back above the 200.
I think this needs to go lower.
Yeah.
But I could see Netflix going, performing some kind of a bounce that takes it up towards a 200-day SMA. But we could see a rejection. I'm still looking for prints down around 160 to 180, and I wouldn't be surprised if we even got prints as low as 1,000. But
he said he meant 1060 to 1080, and wouldn't be surprised if we got more prints down here towards 1,000, which is right where we have our trend line. All of that tracks 13. What you're describing is exactly why I would want to wait for this to recapture and prove that the downside move is done. Because otherwise, if we don't get that proof, you're right. Maybe we should wait for this to come in and test 1,000 or thereabouts. Christoph saying, wait for an RSI bounce. Here's your RSI. This is actually this is another good mention here. This is not quite at oversold territory, but is approaching oversold territory.
And you have a lot of times where this reverses down around this area. If you look at the history on the daily chart of the RSI and line it up with the reversals that it's had, like for example, this the April one this year where everything reversed. That took it down to 34 RSI. The reversal before that in March, that was a 30 RSI.
And then what about the one in January?
The one in January, that was 31 RSI. So down here around 30 RSI, you're going to get these reversals that could take it back up. Now, I still think the price needs to come in some more, but if we're going to continue to follow this reversal, down around 30 RSI, we could see this go meaningfully back up over the 200-day SMA. But my opinion is it still needs to go lower.
Okay. Really good stuff there on Netflix. Y'all should be ready. No matter what Netflix does, y'all should be ready for it.
Yeah.
With saying ASST, yikes. That makes me want to take a look and see what's happening here.
Oh, yeah. It pulled all the way down to the 65 EMA.
It pulled all the way. So how do we want? Can we go back and high five the dude that said he took his money and ran? Because he deserves another. Yeah. Here, Earth UFO. I'm giving you an air high five. Let's
high
go,
fives
dude.
Everywhere. And the momentum looks like it's could still continue lower, even though we're getting a bounce here off the 65 EMA. I just continue to say be careful with ASST. Be careful with all these right now, as we are already past the time where volume leaves the market. People are getting up from their desks, they're going and having some lunch, brunch, whatever it is that they do between the hours of 10:30 and 12.
Jay mentioning GDX has been ugly since earnings. Jay, do you have any thought? I know this is the miners ETF, but do you have any thoughts on gold just in general? Are we in a pullback now after the big run that we've had? Are you kind of waiting out a specific level on either the miners or the spot price or some other ETF tied to it to re-long? What are you thinking there? Tell me what you think. Tell me what the gut tells you. And then someone asked what the news was on Data Vault. I think that was Izzy. Izzy, I'm sorry I'm getting to you a little late here. Here's Data Vault. Let me actually go to the news tab here. Oh, you know what? So here's the news for Data Vault. They Wellgistics enters into a SaaS agreement with DataVault to begin development of manufacturer-to-patient blockchain-enabled smart contracts for prescription drug industry.
Yeah, this is the news on Friday. Well, I think this is a little bit more expanded news, but this was off of this because we were trading WGRX, and that's the company that they're in this agreement with. So I don't remember if you recall how excited I was about this kind of thing, because this is exactly what the kind of thing that blockchain needs to be used for. So blockchain enabled tracking and dispensing for prescription drugs. I think that's huge. I think this is exactly the direction we should be taking with this technology. So for me, DataVault, this is the kind of move that I would expect off this. Now, it's a continuation off of Friday's news, in my opinion. So I don't know how much more is left here, but I would pin that on the reason why it's moving today.
Yeah, the one thing I will say here, no, you know what? So on Friday, the news for DVLT was that they were trading higher because Wellgistics, WGRX, recently signed a non-binding letter of intent. Well, today the news becomes official. So to your point, this does seem like a continuation from Friday 13, but that news is now being made official here today. DataVault likes this, though, plus 13%. And really quickly, just because we kind of tied this to one of the other holdings that we've been on for a little bit, let's take a look at IDAI and see what we're looking at. See what we look like here today. God, I am having a gigantic case of the Mondays. IDAI, really low volume here today, but good golly, this looks like a really, really nice move. Boy, this thing was 320 as recently as Friday, October 17th.
Yeah.
You know what, with some of these other stocks gearing up with news, part of me wonders if we see news from IDAI this week. I just asked Jay to tell me what his gut said, tell me what he thinks. I have no information that that's what's going to happen, so please don't buy it on that. But I would not be surprised if we get some news from this. And look at this chart. This chart to me, and this thing's thin. This thing could really go. We'll see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's nice seeing some of this news with some of these other companies.
Yeah. Well, when do they report earnings? We could start there. When do they report earnings? They are due to report next month. It looks like the middle of next month, unconfirmed for the 14th of November. So 2 weeks.
Ryan here saying DVLT is the tokenization king. And then Jay here said, yeah, Ryan, nothing goes straight up. That was in reference to my gold question. Ryan, metals, nuclear, rare earth were probably the most overbought group. I'd throw in some DAT names in there as well. I'd also throw some drone names in there personally. You saw how overbought the quantum names got 2 weeks ago. It looks like we're seeing that again here. My keyboard sucks. Yes, blame the keyboard. That's generally what I do when I make typos too. Here's the thing, Jay. I speak trader, so I read through a lot of those typos. I make them myself. You should, for any of you that are to 13, I'm sure you've seen this. For any of you that text message me often, you know that I've given up on autocorrect. It autocorrects a lot of my stuff. I make mistakes all of the time in text messages. I apologize.
I ducking hate it.
Oh,
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know is right. Oh man, you know how many times on Saturday when I'm like watching an Oregon game, my phone hates it. I'm typing duck and ducks, and it doesn't know what to do.
So you're an Oregon fan, are you?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Indiana beat that ass a few weeks ago. It was awesome.
Hey, I think we might get a move here with Click. It's trying to get over 1020 again. It's been trying to do it for a while now, and this is going to be another attempt. So either we're going to reject at 1020 or we're going to see a move that's going to take us up to the 65 EMA around 1080.
And that's Click, right? Sorry, I was just looking at the scanner here.
CLIK, just kind of watching for some volume here. If it takes us over this resistance, it's been trying to recapture around 1020 all morning.
Michelle says, that's so true. I've accidentally sent a text with serious cuss words in it. Michelle, have you done what I've done where you've sent it, realized that you've sent it, and been like, oh, please tell me that I sent that to the right person? Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Because the last thing, when I'm trying to text my friends about Oregon losing on the weekend, the last thing is my mom needs to get is a whole bunch of text messages with curse words in it. I have some explaining to do.
Yeah. Sometimes I look at something I sent and I'm just like, I have to own that now.
This is a mistake that now has to be true, unfortunately, because I said it. Oh, that's good. Autocorrect caused duck to become a top 10 messaged word. I've never seen that report, but I believe that 100% without even seeing evidence of it. RPGL getting mentioned here by WIS. We do see this is trading up on volume here. Tell you what, this sorting by volume in the last 1 minute, this is going to be a keeper for this workspace.
Nice.
This is going to be a keeper because this is identifying some of those, the same things that you're looking at. This was a good mention here, WIS. This actually looks like this is going from its VWAP too. KDP pulled back to its VWAP and it's curling. You might get another move there. KDP. So this Republic Power priced an IPO at $4 back on October 15th. It's $1.60 now. I don't know this one.
I don't either, but I like the ticker. RPGL. Rocket propelled grenade launcher. I like it.
That goes back. You've been playing some Battlefield 6, haven't you?
No, I've never played it. Nope. I just, when I see the acronyms, it's just my mind goes there for some reason.
NTLA. This is still down 44%. So it's interesting.
Because that guy's still hospitalized.
What?
Well, the guy's still hospitalized.
No, that's not. I wasn't trying to make a joke about that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. What I was mentioning here is that it does look like the volume is starting to tick up here, but it does look like it's held this low. So you might be able to trade this against 1350. Still, though, I'd be careful. I have no problem sitting on my hands here today if nothing looks great. If you absolutely must trade something, that would be the spot.
Thank you for that compliment, Frozen King. I appreciate that.
The Texas is showing in 13.
That's a compliment. Okay, nothing really looking good. Just waiting to see if Click ends up taking out 1020, and then that might be the last thing I look at for today, as far as morning trade goes. How are these? How's Qualcomm doing? We pulling back from that big move up? Yeah, we certainly did. Went up to 205, came back in. Now we're at 195 right now.
Pretty good mention on some of those levels on the way up there.
Hey, that's a really good point, Zach. And so NTLA, big, or it can go down to 10. Super Sam saying it's a big ARC holding. And Kathy Wood. And Jay saying, knowing Kathy, she's probably buying this dip. That could be true.
Maybe that's why it's being supported down there. CODX, this is near the highs here. This is the penny play of the day.
All right. Kit finally showing us a little bit of life here. Need to see a move back over 250, but it's getting some support from the 65 EMA. Iron also trying to get some support. This looks like it could still go lower, though. Click, not looking too bad. This, really slow moving, needs some more volume, but it's trying to get above 230. Or I'm sorry, 1030 now. Big seller in the way at 1030.
Man, we're almost out of time here today. This has been a lot of fun.
It has been.
You know what, Wes? I agree. Today was pretty anticlimactic. I did hit KDP there, so I'm happy about that. I am happy with some of the move that we're seeing here today. Not a lot of day trade activity, though. I didn't hit Qualcomm. Shout out for that, though. That was a great move and a nice little lesson there on how you can use the squawk. So really good stuff there on Qualcomm for everybody. In fact, I'll give another communal register ring for the group for those who hit Qualcomm.
There it goes. There it goes. Click now over 1020. Showed up the seller at 1030, making its way up towards its 65 EMA. Slow mover, but this one had the setup. There we go. Perfect.
That's nice. And CODX, just as you were mentioning that too went a little bit higher there.
Well, that's the last. Like I said, that's the last one I'm going to look at for today. So click. Perfect little move there. Hopefully somebody all caught that too. That was awesome. And now we're moving through the 65 EMA. Watch this thing go on a massive run now.
And don't forget about Netflix, folks. We really want to see where that closes here today.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Michelle, I'm glad that you like it here. I'm really glad you're with us.
Yeah, I'm glad you found us too. I'm glad. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm glad you all found us. To me, this is. I say it to 13 all the time. This is the best part of my workday. I'm a morning person anyway, so waking up and being able to share it with the community and being able to do a lot of the things that I like to do, it's great. It's great. You guys make it fun here. So,
that's what mentioned with the codex, by the way.
And then also remember, producer's correct. It is a sports equinox here today. NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL all on television here tonight. Frozen King says he bought a lifetime because of you and me. I'll take that all day long. I hope it's a lifetime of bettering your financial future, Frozen King.
When you have a sports equinox like we do today, it makes me sad that I only have two eyes. It makes me sad I'm not a chameleon either, because, man, to be able to do this with your eyes would be incredible. Weird, but incredible.
You blink a full another set of eyelids. Yeah. That reminds me of Men in Black. Yeah, he was tired. He was out of breath. He was breathing. That's what that was. Anyway, yeah. I'll one more thing here. Lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, we're trying to get back on that.
Sorry about that.
Trying to get back on that train. Frozen King, if you're with us in Benzinga Pro now, love to see you in happy hour. We love talking about happy hour. We love being in happy hour. It's one of the, Ryan, you say this is one of the greatest times of your day. That's one of the other greatest times of his day is during happy hour.
Yeah, no question about it. I actually do. I get more play ideas from happy hour than I do anywhere else. Any other discussion that I have, I think about stuff in happy hour and then I go and put trades on. I also, these usernames, Frozen King, is there another username that we know you by? Because I messed up with the usernames here. And Smoke Tuna, a PSA for everybody. France did daylight savings time this weekend. And in fact, I believe all of Europe did. Smoke Tuna, you'll have to correct me though. And you're still adjusting to that 1 hour time difference. 13, this is going to happen to us this weekend. I believe Saturday night is daylight savings time here in the States. So things are going to be different on Monday. We fall back. We get extra hours of sleep. Thank God. But yeah.
Get ready to get thrown off again.
I know.
Before we at least before I sign off here, man, click. That was the move. That was the move right there.
This was really good.
Yeah, that took us up to 1150. Don't know how much more is left in here. No position in this. This was just a great quick in and out, waiting for that move to happen. But that's all for me. Do we have a keg during happy hour? We have been known to drink different elixirs, whether they be scotch, beer, or wine. Don't think anybody's done a keg yet.
Yeah, no one's done a keg. I will say, Jay, we do encourage folks, if you want to show up to happy hour with an adult beverage, you're welcome to do so, as long as we keep the comments in line. That's no problem. 13 is a big Scotch guy, so he will occasionally flex the Scotch muscle.
Oh yes, muscle. Yes, we're already entering the happy hour right now.
All right, enough of that. Jonathan asking about ELBM. I wonder why. This was from the battery theme that we saw. This entire theme has been pulling back here. ELBM's done absolutely nothing here today. Down 7%, mostly selling volume. No news as far as I'm concerned on this. And again, this is on the backside of the move here. Oh, there was news here. It launches a new program to advance mineral deposit modeling and feedstock integration at Iron Creek Cobalt Copper Project in Idaho.
Interesting. That sounds
Not
like
really doing much for the stock, though.
Qualcomm, this is coming down to a support area, 192.50. Just wanted to point that out there. I don't know if it's going to get the support there, but this is a support area. Beneath this one, support I have next is going to be at 185. So just a couple of levels on the way down before I sign off here with you all today.
This gave up its VWAP there. Jay says, Ryan, my game is back. Best round in a while. 3 under. Oh, my God. 3 under through 15. Jay, I tell you what, man, the next time I get to Arizona, we need to go. I'm sure you could help me. That's insane that you were 3 under. That's insane, dude. You're shooting 60s. That's crazy. All right.
Way to go, Peter.
Blown away by that. All right. 13 now, we can officially, any closing words for the group here?
Hey, even with a low volume day like today, we still had some pretty good trades that we still were able to find and make a little bit of money off of. But you know what? I think the bigger names might be something we want to keep a closer eye on today, or not today, but this week, with all the names that are reporting. We got Microsoft, we got Apple and Meta. And there's one more I can't think of right now. But we have Amazon. We've got a lot of Mag 7 reporting this week. Big week this week. FOMC decision. Ryan's going to give you the graphic, folks. I'll be here tomorrow and the rest of the week. We'll have some more trades. We'll have some more fun. And until then, I'll see y'all later. So bye.
All right, 13, really good stuff here. I'm going to close the stream with this on screen because, frankly, I should have shared this earlier. Producer reminded me, and I still forgot. We do have a humongous week of earnings. So enjoy the sports equinox. Get ready. Apple's coming this week. Apple, Coinbase, and Amazon on Thursday. Google and Meta on Wednesday. Visa, Mondelez, Logitech, and PayPal on Tuesday. We're going to have a busy week, folks. Stay green. Stay safe. Stay focused. We'll see you next time. Have a good